It's here, people. Today is the day. You ready for what's about to happen? This is the day that so many people celebrate. It should be a national holiday. This day is so important, it can turn non-believers
I don't even really care about football.
into believers.
Get some glasses, ref! Or whatever, I don't even really care.
So much on the line that everyone is forced to choose a side.
Rooting for the Niners because we beat them in Week 15, so if they win the Super Bowl, we win the Super Bowl.
I'm rooting for the Chiefs because Kansas City's where I got my hip replacement.
All right!
A day people consume 8 million pounds of guacamole, 2 million pounds of cheese, 350 pounds of pepperoni, 1.3 billion chicken wings. Now that's a lot of chicken wings. 16 million people gonna be going so hard that Monday they're not going to work.
How's that? Bring it more from the chest.
And it's all happening right here. The home of DJ Khaled, Miami-Dade County, 305 Florida, the crib. You ready for what's about to happen? Because Super Bowl 54 is up next, right here on Fox. DJ Khaled, another one.
How's that for a hype man? The most anticipated and celebrated unofficial holiday in America is finally here. It's Super Bowl Sunday, our nation's biggest sport on our country's grandest stage, all with a dream matchup to boot. A year ago, the 49ers had one of the worst records in football. Now they're in the Super Bowl where they meet the 24-year-old quarterback many consider the best in the business, the Chiefs' Patrick Mahomes. Across the globe, in 180 countries, in front of more than 150 million viewers, and thousands of fans here at South Beach. Either the San Francisco 49ers or the Kansas City Chiefs will earn the title of best football team on the planet. It is Super Bowl 54, and it is live only on Fox. We could not be prouder to get you all set for the big game here in Miami as we get our feet wet, coming to you from the shores of the South Beach. Come on outside and stay a while, folks. I'm Kurt Menefee. Welcome to America's #1 pregame show for each of the past 26 years. And while we're talking about numbers, look at what we've got up here. A collective 8 Super Bowl rings on this panel. 4 by Terry Bradshaw, 1 each from Howie Long and Michael Strahan, and 2 from Mr. South Florida himself, Jimmy Johnson. Hello, boys.
What's up, man? How's it going?
If you weren't pumped before, does this get you going?
I tell you right now, so excited, Super Bowl 54 with the great NFL fans out here in South Beach.
It's been a long 2 weeks for both these teams. I think these final moments before their initial moment of impact are the most nerve-wracking. They can't wait to kick this thing off. When they do get hit, it's a game. You go play.
We can't wait for it to kick off, in fact, and it's just a matter of hours from now before we know officially who the best team in the NFL is. But along the way, know that we here at Fox Sports will get you all set with the best coverage as we bring you the Super Bowl for the 9th time in our network's history. But no one's ever done it quite like this. We'll be in 3 different locations throughout the afternoon, starting here in South Beach, and then we'll pass the party on to Chris and Thompson and a couple of legends for their take on the big matchup. That's while the guys and I hit I-95 for a short road trip to join them outside the stadium. And then as the game approaches, we'll join 65,000 fans heading inside for all the exciting pregame festivities as we lead up to the kickoff of Super Bowl 54. So that means that as of this game, an amazing 20% or 1 out of every 5 Super Bowls will have occurred right here in Miami. That's more than any other location. To be specific, it's the 11th Super Bowl that Miami has hosted, so no surprise that many of the game's all-time great moments have also happened here. Going back to Vince Lombardi's last title in the iconic Old Orange Bowl to the most famous upset in lounge chair in sports history, it's been the #1 town for the NFL's biggest game. We've seen fantastic finishes, acrobatic catches, and heard from a cat at Dallas who had to eat his own words by getting outplayed by Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Miami is also where Joe Montana, Steve Young, John Elway, and Peyton Manning cemented their legacies. The sneaky Saints pulled off the gutsiest play of any Super Bowl ever. And the halftime show, well, it graduated from a nobody's watching marching band to megastars like Prince singing Purple Rain in the rain. No rain expected. It is a gorgeous afternoon here in South Florida. Should be a perfect night for football. TB, you won 2 of your Super Bowls here.
Right.
So whenever you're back here, I assume you got to have great memories.
Well, athletes Coach, the NFL players always look at the schedule and they want to know where the Super Bowl is going to be played. When they find out it's going to be in Miami, everybody wants to be here. First of all, it's an awesome state. It's great weather, beautiful water, beautiful women, if that's what you're looking for. And when I played in my 2 Super Bowls here, I didn't realize I didn't know how to spell. I learned how to spell in Super Bowl 13 when Thomas Hollywood Henderson said I couldn't spell if they spotted me the C and the T. And guess what? I got the A right, boys, and Cat was good. Went on to win that football game. So Miami, Super Bowl here, it's just perfect.
As long as you can spell W-I-N, who cares, right? Hey, like a lot of us, TB, he vacations when he comes down here. Our guy Jimmy Johnson owns this town, loves this town, and like many of the all-time great love affairs, this one also started with a ring.
One of the things that attracted me here at the University of Miami was South Florida and the city of Miami.
Miami does it again, just what they do best of all.
It's Jimmy Johnson. He's a national championship coach.
Let's hold each other because we are a team.
I fell in love with South Florida and Miami back when I was at University of Miami.
The 87 Kings will answer it.
Only losing 2 regular season games in 4 years.
Touchdown Miami.
58 straight home victories.
What a fabulous college football team.
Winning a national championship, that makes it a lot of fun.
Party has begun in Miami.
The #1 ranked football team in America.
When I left University of Miami and went to the Dallas Cowboys, that's when I realized, hey, wait, I just left the place where I want to live. I knew that eventually I would come back to South Florida.
A very big story. Jimmy Johnson is now the head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
When 3 different presidents said you were part of the very, very best, that gave me a special, special feeling, and I want that feeling again.
I can't stand cold weather. I can't stand cold water. You come down to Miami and the Keys, the water's crystal clear. Various cultures and the diversity. I mean, Miami, you get anything and everything, whatever you want. Everybody knows that I fish. They said, well, where's your favorite place to fish? I said, 2 miles offshore in front of my house. I mean, it takes an act of Congress to get me out of the Keys, or a big paycheck, one of the 2. I want to be right here.
Well, it's really no secret, my love for South Florida. And Miami's a city that truly changed my life. For me, it's paradise.
And there was no act of Congress to get you here today, so I'm guessing. Hey, speaking of Miami memories, the last time the San Francisco 49ers won the Super Bowl, it was here in Miami, but that was 25 years ago. Wow. It's actually been twice that long, 50 years, since the Chiefs were even in the big game. And while both teams look to end a long championship drought, how they got here is anything but similar. Let's begin our team check-ins with Aaron Andrews, who joins us from the Niners team hotel. Although EA, the head coach of the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan's already at the stadium. He was there 6 hours before kickoff. I think he's ready to go. Are you?
Yeah, oh, well, I better be, right? No choice. But Kyle Shanahan did tell me I don't like to sit around the hotel. I like to get out there, start crunching some numbers. We did see the 49ers first team bus leave about 2 hours after Kyle Shanahan headed his way down to the stadium. I did text with general manager John Lynch today, and he told me last night's team meeting was very, very powerful. Kyle Shanahan, not a special guest, said to his team, I have so much confidence in you. And anytime you needed to deliver this year, you did. Like that NFC Championship game where they only had 8 pass attempts. So this San Francisco offense, they've really embraced what it's like to have a strong running game.
There's something to be said about the want to block, the willingness to block. A big part of our success is just our mentality and our will and our want to run the ball.
Running, man, it's all about physicality. Make sure our presence is known. We want to make sure that we go down there and hit someone in the mouth.
They are just pounding, run after run after run.
Your physicality can make up for any mistake there might be. That really makes it tough for a defense across the board, from the offensive line all the way out to the wide receivers, when they're not matching the same mentality that you have.
Posted off the left side, breaks a tackle, 10, 5, touchdown! San
In order
for you to play this team, you gotta love the game because it's not gonna be all about you going out here and catching every ball. The running backs block for us on passing plays, so I just think we should give them the same energy whenever we run it.
You better have guys out here like Deebo Samuel who block the edge.
We make the run game different by simply just going off with relentless effort. Start off the game right, so that way it'll come a little bit easier later on in the game.
That speed is sick.
As we continue to run the ball and we get more excited, you just see the defense starts to deflate.
Clearly, they know where to attack this defense.
After 4 quarters of smash mouth football, defenses just aren't quite as fast.
This is taking away the manhood right here at the Green Bay Packers.
What the hell's going on around here?
Cornerbacks and safeties are really not the physical guys and have receivers out there that's willing to do everything. It takes the world out of the defense, honestly, just being physical.
They're going to run it again. Wide stretch run to
When you dominate in the way we have the past 2 games on the run, you really don't even have to worry about throwing the ball.
Raheem Mostert has 4 rushing touchdowns.
Just brought me back to, when I was a little kid, man, just having fun. Going out there, running for 220 yards. I wasn't even really necessarily worried about the yardage. I was just going out there and just running.
We're going to bring it to the defense.
It's a real mindset.
We know that it's about us. It's not about them.
Everybody has to be all in.
We just want to impose our will on anyone that's lined up across from us.
And again, for the 49ers, this run game, a complete team effort. George Kittle told me a great story saying that in that NFC Championship game, Emmanuel Sanders looked over at him in the second quarter and said, hey, I bet I'll block better in the run game than you. And George Kittle saying, I've never had a wide receiver just kind of say that to me. He's always been worried about his own numbers. So just shows how much pride they take in this whole thing. All right, we're going to send it over now to Chris Myers, who is with Kansas City.
All right, thanks, Aaron. And the Chiefs are ready to roll, literally, figuratively. The bus is behind me. Within the hour, we'll head over to the stadium, and Patrick Mahomes will be on the first one. For the Chiefs, it's all about today. They got through last night without any illnesses, no security problems. Nobody had the flu last minute, nothing like that. This morning, together, they all had breakfast. They had a walkthrough here at the hotel, and then they had a lunch. And then the guys were like, enough with the eating and the food. Let's go play ball. This ride to the stadium for them might seem a little bit slow. This is one of the fastest, most speed-driven offenses you're ever going to see, headlined, of course, by super stud Patrick Mahomes.
The Legion of Zoom is showing up tonight. Mahomes and all these weapons. The ball comes your way. You make a play. 1, 2, 3.
How did we get here?
How did we get here?
How did we get here? Quickly.
People say I drive too fast, move too fast, live too fast. Ain't no such thing as too fast.
Well, the speed of this offense, crazy. Guys all around the ball that can make plays anywhere over the field. It doesn't matter who touches the ball. We are all electrifying. We all can take the ball the distance. So just a bunch of brothers who competing and just having fun, just trying to reach one goal. Tyreek the cheetah, and it kind of like stuck with me. And I live on land, so I want to be the fastest land animal. Cheetah, baby. I'm the jet, so I don't know about another animal.
I'll say the Panther. I'll go with the big physical guy that's gonna go through all the dirty work and run somebody over or block somebody pretty hard. I would say the Panther. He's still fast, but not faster than Cheetah.
Mahomes chased and gets up the sideline. He's not out of bounds yet. And he throws for the end zone. Maybe the best play of Patrick Mahomes' incredible young career.
Pat is Pat. God gives him the ability he didn't give most quarterbacks.
That's a guy that's just not a quarterback, a guy that got fight in him.
Dominate.
And a guy that's the leader of this team, he's special, man.
It's something that he can do that you never seen before, whether it's a sidearm or throwing the ball 60 yards on the run with ease. You can't really be in awe because, he's your quarterback, so you got to be out there doing your job, too. You can't be trying to watch him do his thing, then the ball come and you drop it.
We have everything that we need. Our 15 continue to move us. Man, we just got to continue to play hard and, finish this last game.
Dang, we really in the Super Bowl, so I think he'll start feeling real when we get to Miami and go on that field for warm-ups and trying to get this thing kicked off and try to bring this thing home. Our mindset will never change, so always Super Bowl, baby.
Mahomes in his 4 postseason career games, 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. His team, the Chiefs, have scored 30 points or more in each of those games, and he's loving the weather. This will be the warmest temperatures the Chiefs have played in since mid-November. Not complaining. They've been hydrating for weeks just in case, but they don't think the temperatures this evening or the humidity will be a problem. That's the story from the team hotels. Let's head back to the stadium at Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
You know, that cold weather and home field advantage worked out for them in the playoffs. I don't think they're complaining. Now, while the buses are still there, you saw behind Chris Myers, some of the San Francisco 49er players, they can't wait. Jimmy Garoppolo arriving at the stadium, and I'm looking at my watch. 4 hours and 15 minutes before kickoff. We've already seen his head coach, his defensive coordinator there. Howie, when you get to this stage right now, what is the mindset as you wait for this game to kick off?
Well, it's been a long 2 weeks, and you're anxious to get the thing kicked off. And I think every player that steps on the field tonight wants to be great, wants to make that big play. I think the important thing, and I go back to Jimmy's point, which he's made several times, is it's not the team that makes the most big plays, it's the team that makes the fewest mistakes. And here's the issue. If the opportunity presents itself within the flow of the game to be great, seize the opportunity. But the issue is you can't step out of it. Be specific to what your plan is and play within the defense.
Well, and I've learned you can't let the moment be bigger than you are. You have to learn how to relax within this moment of it being the Super Bowl, because once they kick the ball off, it's just football. There's nothing different than what you've done before to get here. And I was in a Super Bowl we lost to the Baltimore Ravens, where I think we were overcome. I know you feel sorry for me, TB. You lost. Okay, I'm glad you did. You shouldn't have bet in the first place. But it was I felt like we were overwhelmed by the moment. We thought about it too much. Oh, it's the Super Bowl. Here you can't do that. The second time around, we didn't have that mentality. We showed up and said, we're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy ourselves. We're going to do what we did to get here. And that's just play great football, and it led to a win for us.
And I gave you that Vince Lombardi trophy.
And you gave me the Vince Lombardi,
right,
baby. Give me some.
Well, this might surprise you, but when I tried out for the Olympics in the 110 high hurdle.
We are surprised already.
I always fell behind early, Mike. I always fell behind early. And I guess, unlike Kansas City, they fall behind early too, but they always bounce back. 24 points down to Houston. I love this analogy. You know this is pretty good. 24 points to Houston. They come back and win that football game. Down 10 to Tennessee 2 weeks ago. They come back and win that football game. Only problem today, and this is what worries me, if they get behind the 49ers and down more than 10 points, this defense is so much better than anything they've seen.
Were you able to come back on the hurdle?
No, I fell on the fourth one. Always the fourth one. I don't know why. That's a long way up there.
1, 2, 3.
Stop it.
Hey, Howie, you talked about preparing for this game for 2 weeks. In reality, they have prepared for this game all year long. And you look at each individual, they've been preparing for this game their entire career. I can't overstate the importance of this one game to put this ring on. It's an important game for every one of them.
All right, we are counting down.
That's one of them.
Our time to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
You ready to count down? Can you count backwards? Let's go with me. Not only for the game, though.
That's a shot.
No, it wasn't. I'm with you. I'm your partner. I got your back. It's also the countdown right now to Shakira and Jennifer Lopez taking part in the Pepsi Super Bowl 54 halftime show. We will talk more about the game, which is breaking records right now as far as the ticket prices go. Sit back, relax, plenty more to come.
It's the biggest day of the year, and we have it all, including so many of your favorite stars. Franco Harris, Rob Gronkowski, superfan Mark Wahlberg, heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder, Big Papi David Ortiz, Alex Rodriguez, Miami legend Dan Marino, Jeff Gordon, plus music from Dan and Shay, Pitbull and DJ Khaled. Michael Strahan sits with halftime performers Jennifer Lopez and Shakira, and worldwide megastar Dwayne Johnson. And of course, all the stars from the 49ers and Chiefs. The party is just getting started from Miami as Super Bowl 54 on Fox is coming up. Welcome back to the Progressive Super Bowl 54 pregame show on Fox.
Well, the fun in the sun here in South Beach is just beginning as we welcome you back to the pregame show for Super Bowl 54. And as part of the NFL 100th anniversary season, fans were asked to vote for their favorite moments of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the top 4 vote getters. Coming in at number 4, Don Shula and the Miami Dolphins, that perfect season in 1972. Only team to do that and win a championship. Number 3, a lot of 49er fans in town today, they'll love this one. The catch, Dwight Clark in the NFC Championship game against the Cowboys back in 1982 that started the dynasty. Number 2, Michael Strahan will love this one, the helmet catch. David Tyree against his helmet, ending the Patriots' perfect season and preventing them from winning the Super Bowl. So who's number 1, you ask? Let's roll it.
Last dance for the Steelers.
Ricochet off of Jack Tatum.
Picked up. Franco Harris has it. And he's over. When you talk about Christmas miracles, here's a miracle of all miracles.
And that was to win the playoff game against the Raiders with 5 seconds left. Terry Bradshaw, you threw it to Franco Harris. Eventually, who's in our Lowe's green room right now. We're going to bring Franco out, wasn't it? In a second. Heck of a throw. We're going to bring Franco out to see if we can't try and recreate the immaculate reception. Come on, Franco. Still in great shape after all these years.
A stallion.
He's fantastic. See you, man. Oh, let's talk about this play here at the end of the game.
Can't believe this. Can't believe it. Oh, my God.
How you doing? Always great to see you, man. All right, so explain to us what happened here, because you're down 7-6 at the end of the game. You have to obviously score to win the game.
Oh, yeah. Well, we put the ball in Terry's hands, you know, and the rest is history. The rest is history.
You got to know how to make it bounce, baby.
So show us how it happened. How about this? We'll call this immaculate recreation.
66 full right split, 66 circle post. Is that it?
Yeah. But before you do now, remember the ball bounced around.
Right.
We need a ball. We can't make it bounce around magically. So everybody's wondering where Jimmy Johnson is. We put him up in the cherry picker. He will control the football and try and make it bounce around. We'll see. All right, let's line it up.
Let's line it up. Here we go. Huddle up, guys.
Now, the 2 keys to this were offensive players back then couldn't touch the ball in back-to-back plays. So a defender for the Raiders had to do it, touch it in order for it to be a legal play.
That be me. Tatum right here. Come on.
That's it! Dog 36 slide right pass in that.
Bradshaw throws.
Jimmy, get it down.
Jack Tatum and Frenchie Fuqua fighting over it. The ball bounces somehow. And as it bounces, does it touch Tatum? Does it touch Fuqua? Does it touch the ground? Because Franco scoops it up and takes it in for the winning score. And the Steelers win it and go on to the AFC Championship game where they lost to the Miami Dolphins back in 1970. Hey, Franco, we appreciate you joining us always. And in case you're wondering at home, did it ever touch the ball? Did it touch Jack Tatum? Nobody will ever say. Both these teams have sworn to secrecy over all the years. All right, Franco Harris and Terry Bradshaw hugging it out. We'll take another quick break. Throughout the show, we're going to continue celebrating the rich history of pro football as we finish up the NFL's 100th season and get you ready for Super Bowl 54. And that includes 2 teams here. The San Francisco 49ers. Ronnie Lott, a legend for them, actually sacrificed a finger in order to keep playing. We'll break down his story, plus that of Lamar Hunt, the beginning of the AFL, and how the Super Bowl got his name.
Welcome to the Burger King Super Bowl 54 pregame show on Fox.
Oh, here we go again, yeah. Let's do it one more time, yeah.
All right, we're about 4 hours to kick off, live inside their team locker rooms. They're at Hard Rock Stadium. The Chiefs today will be wearing red jerseys. The Niners, they're white. But in case you're wondering, this is the first time ever in Super Bowl history that both teams have red as their primary color. See, both informational, educational, and entertaining we are today. How many times have we heard a player say, "I'll do anything to get back on the field"? Anything? Well, 49er Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott meant what he said when he used those words. And as actor Amari Hardwick explains, Lott legendarily showed more toughness in one finger than most of us can ever imagine.
You may think Ronnie Lott was a great football player, but you'd be wrong.
he was a warrior. From the day he arrived in the NFL, his tackles left receivers shaking in their shoes.
Oh, is he hit? What a pop by Ronnie Lott.
And his interceptions? Well, they left quarterbacks shaking their heads. By 1985, Ronnie Lott has earned 2 Super Bowl rings, played in 4 Pro Bowls, and most importantly, he still has 5 fingers on each hand. You're probably wondering why I mentioned that. Well, that's why we're here. Right, Ronnie? See, facing Dallas, Lott delivers a signature blow against Cowboys fullback Timmy Newsom.
Ronnie Lott hurt his left hand on that play.
That offseason, doctors give Ronnie 2 options. Save the finger with surgery and miss time on the field, or if he wants to play that badly, he could just cut it off. Ronnie chooses to cut off the tip of his pinky finger at the knuckle so he can keep playing the game he loves. The surgery only lasts a few minutes, and even though he says he regretted his decision years later, it's this story that turned a man into a myth. Now, folks, over the next 9 years, he goes on to win 2 more Super Bowls and retires as one of the greatest players ever. Ronnie Lott changed the NFL's definition of tough. And get this, he even led the league in interceptions the very next season with 9.5 fingers. Dang, man. Who does that? Ronnie Lott. That's who.
Dedication, hard work,
Ronnie and I first met back in 1981 when we both came out in the draft. We played together for a couple of years in Los Angeles with the Raiders, worked with him here at Fox, went into the Hall of Fame together in 2000.
Wow.
Obviously one of the all-time great players, but more importantly, one of the all-time great men.
Absolutely.
Truly.
And one of those guys that's beloved by everybody.
Yes.
I think we're getting to that point with Patrick Mahomes right now. People all around the country, even if you're not a Chiefs fan, rooting for this kid, unless he's playing your team. He's hopping onto the team bus right now, getting ready to leave the Chiefs Hotel and head up to Hard Rock Stadium for Super Bowl 54. Now, later today, the 49ers will try to win their 6th Super Bowl title, which would match Terry's Steelers and the Patriots for most all time. While Mahomes' Kansas City Chiefs, they're out to win for the first time in half a century. In a bit, we'll tell you how a kid's play time and Chiefs ownership combine for the reason we call this game the Super Bowl. And then later, the man who's just called Gronk shows us how to party in South Beach the way only he can.
The Burger King Super Bowl 54 pregame show is sponsored by Burger King. Mix or match for $6, now with the Impossible Whopper, only at BK.
Welcome back to South Beach and our coverage of Super Bowl 54 here on Fox. Over the next few hours, we'll be talking a lot about the superstars of tonight's game, like Patrick Mahomes and George Kittle. But if the history of the Super Bowl has taught us anything, it's that sometimes a player you probably never even heard of comes out of nowhere to steal the spotlight.
There are games, there are regular season games, there are playoff games, and there are Super Bowls.
Football is the ultimate team sport.
I've always been intrigued by the guy that no one anticipated making a play that ended up turning the game on a dime.
And it could be someone that you least expect.
You rely on everybody. You never know what play at what moment is going to determine the outcome, and Larry, he was that guy. He was at the right place at the right time, and it's one thing to have the opportunity, but you got to make the play. He was the one who was needed for us to come out with a win, and, you know, as they say, the rest is history.
Second and long, backed up. Joe Theismann drops back, throws a bloop throw, and bang. Jack Squire picks the ball off, runs it in for a touchdown. Game's over. Marcus Allen had the big run. Jim Plunkett made the big throws, but Jack Squirick was the hero of the game.
Well, I always stood up and watched our offense play. And when Eli dropped back, he's getting sacked. I'm thinking, no, not now. And then he heaves it up to the middle of the field to David Tyree, who is the guy that I thought, that's the last person we should probably throw the ball to.
Throws it deep downfield. Tyree who makes the catch at the 20-yard play.
Great catch by David Tyree.
The most unbelievable play by the most unlikely guy on our team, a guy who dropped every ball, no exaggeration, every ball thrown at him in practice on Friday.
Yeah!
The emotion of scoring that touchdown then was overwhelming. Here you are in the Super Bowl, and you don't realize how big it is because you're 24 years old.
The Super Bowl MVP each year gets to yell that they're going to Disney World, and the players that are going to potentially be the MVP, they sign contracts prior to the game. My guess is Larry Brown did not sign a contract before Super Bowl 30, but you just never know how it's going to turn out.
Football's all about taking the opportunity when it's presented to you and making the most of it. But he did it. 5 catches going into the game during the whole season, and I'm forever, eternally grateful for his 6th catch of the season.
You've been there, Jimmy.
Hey, Kurt, I think back our second Super Bowl against Buffalo, we were behind in the ball game. Now, Emmitt Smith ends up being the MVP, but James Washington picks up a fumble, runs it in for a touchdown. He had 11 total tackles, and then on top of that, he had an interception that set up another touchdown for Emmitt.
Who should we keep our eye out for tonight, Michael? Unsung.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to go to another wide receiver for the 49ers, Kendrick Bourne. And you know why I'm picking him?
Because of his last name.
The Bourne identity. I like that last name.
That's right. Hey, you want to talk about movies? Scarface was set here in Miami, right?
Yep.
What's a great line from that movie? Say hello to my little friends. Jake Glazer joins us right now.
That's terrible. That's the worst lead-in ever. Worst lead-in ever. Hey, guys, I'm sitting up here. I got South Beach behind me, and I think there's one of Jimmy's 19 yachts over there. That guy's not supposed to be on there. Hey, guys, I talked to Andy Reid just a few minutes ago, and I asked him, how is today different than the last time he was in the Super Bowl in 2005? He says, I know at least this year what to expect. I'm so much more relaxed this time than I was last time. But he and Kyle Shanahan faced this week in 2 completely different ways. Kyle Shanahan had nobody else come in and talk to the team, made it a business trip. Andy Reid, on the other hand, wanted to bring in several guest speakers. Brought in Donovan McNabb, Brett Favre. Yesterday, he told these guys, hey, when you win one, when you lose one, you're going to think about the loss way more than you won with the win. Make sure you guys go out and win this one. But the best guest speaker they had of anybody out there, our own Jimmy Johnson. Those players and coaches said Jimmy Johnson had us so jazzed up. Coach, the Honey Badger was about to take you out the other day. He was going crazy. That's why you're a Hall of Famer, buddy.
Well, it's just me.
Just me.
What can I say?
Trying to motivate the troops.
Another guy who is just him is Rob Gronkowski. He has been partying in Miami. That's a shock. But considering his New Year's Eve exploits that went viral, Fox executives may want to keep Gronk away from this very next segment because it's Lego time. Why don't you check out the Legos they made of all our guys?
Ooh,
this is all part of a brand new reality competition series, Lego Masters, and it premieres Wednesday night here on Fox. What do you think?
I think Terry's eyes are just slightly too close.
Too close?
Kind of like the too close.
I got a little bitty head.
They got the gap right there.
That's the one thing we'll stick with.
Howie's head looks like a blob.
Wait a second. Look at that blob over there on the right. Please. Don't be critical of me here. You look like you're about 3 PSI too heavy there.
We will see how closely and how accurate they can come. Oh, don't even get started on that.
You look very clever.
Will Arnett will host that along with celebrity guests. Lego Builders will be put to a challenge each and every week. Make sure you catch it. It premieres Wednesday night after The Masked Singer here on Fox. We'll be back.
Welcome back to the Burger King Super Bowl 54 pregame show on Fox.
The year was 1970.
50 years ago.
50 years. And we were in the Super Bowl.
Not specifically we, but the Chiefs.
Gas was 36 cents a gallon.
Wow, dude. That's crazy.
Cars cost less than $4,000.
What kind of car are we talking about?
And the cost of a Super Bowl commercial was only $78 grand.
The highest rated TV show was Marcus Welby, MD.
It's something I probably wouldn't watch myself. I like Martin. The highest grossing movie was Love Story.
Never heard of it.
And the #1 song was Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Oh, yeah. Simon and Garfunkel, man, they lit for sure. Like, definitely.
Now is definitely a good time to be 50 years old. You got J-Lo, she's 50.
J-Lo is 50 and she still look that good? Nah, she can't be 50.
She looked like she's about 29, 30. So is our hometown super fan, Paul Rudd.
Who would have thought?
Not me.
And Jay Glazer, did you know that he's 50?
Okay, well, I can see that.
I've never felt better. Actually, I look fantastic. Fantastic.
Well, needless to say, the only 50-year-olds on that bus are coaches for the Kansas City Chiefs. They are taking off, heading over to Hard Rock Stadium, getting ready for Super Bowl 54. All those young players will just hear the stories from the old timers as they go along. It gives you entertainment, right? You know what? When the Chiefs won Super Bowl IV, it was actually only the second game called the Super Bowl. More on how that happened in just a bit. You see, when this title tilt began in 1967, it was known as the AFL-NFL World Championship game. A game that only happened because of a league that only existed, as actor Oliver Hudson reminds us, due to the brilliant mind of Kansas City owner Lamar Hunt.
Attention, all passengers on flight 152 to Miami.
You know the AFC. What about the AFL? Used to be a whole other league, and you'll never believe how that got started. It's 1959. The NFL is a successful 12-team league, but not quite the sports giant it'd become. Enter Lamar Hunt, 26 years old, oil-rich, passionate about the game. Lamar wants to put an expansion team near his home in Dallas, so he meets Commissioner Burt Bell to make his pitch. But Burt says no. Lamar? He's no quitter. He flies to Florida to see the owners of the Chicago Cardinals about buying their team and moving them to Dallas. No deal again. But they tell him something that sparks his interest. Seems they've also received bids from other buyers in Texas, Minneapolis, and Denver. And they want to move the Cardinals to their home cities, too. So on the flight home from Miami, Lamar Hunt gets to thinking, and a light bulb goes off.
May I have something to write on, please?
What if he joins up with those other rejected bidders? Together they can start a new league. A league with teams in their home cities. And one in Dallas, too. It'd be a heck of a gamble. But in his heart, Lamar believes in one thing: the power of football. Lamar's Texas team eventually became the Kansas City Chiefs, and the new league became the AFL. It was born right here on an airplane. The Jets, the Raiders, the Patriots, they all exist because of this guy. Lamar Hunt changed football forever. And the rest is history.
Okay, so Lamar Hunt brought us the AFL, which got us to this big game. But even he realized that calling it the AFL-NFL World Championship game was kind of clunky. If only someone could come up with a more catchy title.
If you could go back to 1966, you'd find the owners of the AFL and NFL trying to figure out what to call the first ever championship game between the two leagues. But with contenders like the Ultimate Bowl or the World Series of football, Chiefs owner Lamar Hunt is desperately searching for some immortal inspiration.
Dad, give me back my Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. We'll call it the Super Bowl.
Not bad, Lamar. Not bad at all.
Thanks to Ryan Bialik. Make sure you got your new show, Call Me Cat, premiering on Fox this fall. Michael, it's amazing what kids' playtime can turn into. Not only is the daughter in the room, but the CEO and chairman of the Chiefs right now, Clark Hunt, was also there.
Yeah, Clark Hunt said he's the one who named it the Super Bowl. But the worldwide vision of the Super Bowl, what we see now, is all from the mind of Lamar Hunt. And his team, first time here in 50 years, celebrating the 100th year of the NFL. It couldn't be more fitting. But the NFL power brokers were Mr. Hunt, Mr. Hallis, and Mr. Mara. They believe that revenue sharing would lead to teams at Green Bay and Buffalo. And what you're watching today is the realization of Lamar Hunt's dream and how he operated and the power that he wielded within the NFL to make it a better game is now being continued by his son Clark to this day.
And flying on that plane gave him an idea that if we're going to beat CBS and gather the NFL, we've got to throw the football. And that is what spurred the AFL to its greatness.
Yeah, which certainly got us here. One other note about the Hunt family, if you will. Matriarch Norma Hunt, who's been to all 54 Super Bowl games in person. Well, she's a part of a quartet of women who also own NFL teams spotlighted in the documentary A Lifetime of Sundays. That begins streaming on Fox Nation tomorrow. As for today's pregame show, well, we've got all the A-list stars coming your way, including an award-winning actor-producer, a legendary tight end, the heavyweight champion of the boxing world, Grammy-winning country music stars, A-Rod and J-Lo, and even the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. What more do you need?
It's Super Bowl Sunday, and my Patriots are not in the Super Bowl. I don't know what to do with myself. This is a problem. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna work out instead. 99, 100, 499, 500, 1,000. Who am I kidding? I can't not watch the Super Bowl.
And welcome to Super Bowl 54 without the Patriots.
Again.
Welcome to Super Bowl 54 featuring the 49ers and the Chiefs. Thanks to Mark Wahlberg, you can see his documentary series McMillions on HBO tomorrow night. Now, one of the reasons why his Patriots aren't here is that they never really replaced their perennial all-pro tight end Rob Gronkowski after he retired. That was last offseason. But don't worry about Gronk. Retirement means he now has more time to hang out with his besties.
We're in Miami, land of retirement. So I brought my retirement crew down with me. James Harrison.
Hey.
Vernon Davis.
That's right, I'm retired.
And Miss Cheryl, my old school nurse.
Who wants snacks?
Thank you for being a friend. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
How good was that, huh? Hey, also, a little love for Vernon Davis, retiring on TV after 15 years in the NFL. Played 10 years, including the Super Bowl with the 49ers. He was their first-round pick back in 2006. All right, well, maybe he can get some after-football life tips from Gronk, who joins us right now from the Game Day Fan Plaza outside Hard Rock Stadium. Here's a shock jock. I hear, Gronk, that you had a Super Bowl party last night. Not to sound like your parents, what time did you get to bed?
Kurt, what's up, man? How you doing? I swear to you, I got to bed at 10:30 last night. That's why I threw a day party. I knew I had to be here for today's party. This is incredible. I never really been part of a Super Bowl tailgate, and let me tell you, there is so much energy here. The fans are going crazy. The cheerleaders are being awesome. Man, it's a great atmosphere, man. It's pretty cool to be a part of and see this side of the Super Bowl now instead of playing in it.
Yeah, is it weird for you to be here and actually not being in the game?
A little bit, you know. I'm kind of used to it now, going throughout the whole season not playing. But, you know, I'm kind of used to it, man. I love my Fox family. I love being with you guys. So thank you for making me feel like I'm at home.
But we mentioned it. It gave you a chance to have a Saturday night Super Bowl party, which I don't think you've ever done before. Let's take a look at what happened.
Super Bowl 2020.
Yes,
Jimmy, Coach showed up. It was unbelievable, man. I think he's trying to recruit me for next season. I'm not really sure because he usually would not come to a party, but it was just amazing, man. You know, Coach is so great, and it was great to see him, man. Thank you for coming, Coach Belichick. You're the best.
You talk about him showing up. Everyone, maybe, who's been on the internet today, I can tell you, they've seen the outfit. Jimmy Johnson, I mean, look, you're a fashion guru.
Right.
What's your opinion of this picture?
Well, I don't know about that one right there, but
the outfit, I mean.
Oh, the outfit.
Jimmy.
It's okay. I mean, you look at Belichick, though, he had the flowery shirt, ready for the Tommy Bahama and with the shorts.
Was that Gronk's dad dancing on stage?
Yes, that was.
There we go.
That was. There you go.
Oh, the flip-flops fit in, though. The flip-flop. I'm in flip-flops about 10 months out of the year.
Hey, but you know, certain legs need two things. One, pants, the other, barbecue sauce. So you have to make the decision on those
And
legs.
if you've been around Gronk's dad, that was his dad every time you get a chance to see him. That family enjoys it. We enjoyed having you here, Gronk. We're going to join you a little bit later on. I know you'll be back in the show. We'll be up there at the stadium the next time we see you. Thanks a lot, brother. Go get a little bit of rest and hydrate. Maybe that's probably it. Travis Kelce, the current, maybe, best tight end in football. 4 straight years over 1,000 yards, and now he's going to his first Super Bowl, ready to hop on the bus and head to the stadium. Now, when we come back, we'll have 2-time Grammy-winning country music stars Dan and Shay join the party. They'll perform their #1 hit, Tequila. Next on the Fox Super Bowl 54 pregame from Miami.
Welcome to the Hyundai Super Bowl 54 pregame show on Fox.
Well, not only do we have the Super Bowl coming up for you in a few hours, but the much-anticipated heavyweight championship rematch between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury takes center stage on February 22nd. And with that big fight ahead, we figured, why not bring in Big Papi to help us get ready?
Here comes my man, the 42 win, 41 by knockout, Deontay Wilder, man. Come in, bro. So, champ, Tyson Fury, February 22nd on pay-per-view. How you feel about this next fight coming in?
The first fight was dramatic. This time it's just going to be that much more exciting.
What are you going to do to this guy when you see him? Him,
Just
not me.
looking at
This is the NFL strength tester.
But I'm going to give him my best.
Yeah, go ahead.
Give
Go
my
ahead.
best.
No, you
Who doesn't love Big Papi, right? Why don't you just sit back? Fox has your February handled for you. It's a great month, starting with the Super Bowl, of course, tonight. More football comes your way as the XFL debuts next weekend here on Fox. February 16th, it's the Daytona 500. And finally, the rematch, as you just saw, between Wilder and Fury on February 22nd.
Wow. I'm excited. I'm excited. You know, every time you get into most of the boxing, a lot of boxing, we always hear about running away from the best fighter, your best opponent. These guys don't run from each other.
And they're heavyweights.
And they're heavyweights, and they throw bombs. The first fight was an instant classic. I was there live at the Staples Center. This one's going to be another instant classic because they both believe they are truly the best. February 22nd, we'll see which one really is.
Both fighters still undefeated because of that controversial draw. Hey, you know who runs all around wherever we need her to be is Carissa Thompson. She was here for the kickoff show earlier on South Beach. Now she's made it all the way up to the Game Day Fan Plaza outside the stadium, ready to help us with our first music performance of the night.
Well, thank you, Kurt. And no, I'm not performing, although I would love to sing. Give me a microphone. I've got plenty of outfit changes. I could be a performer here for the musical performances. Thank you, Vicki. But I am going to introduce you to the guys who just won another Grammy Award last Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, the real musical act, Dan and Shay.
I can still shut down the party. I can hang with anybody. I can drink whiskey and a little wine, champagne all night, little scotch on the rocks, and I'm fine, I'm fine. But when I taste tequila, baby, I still see you cutting up the forest road. t-shirt, the same one he wore when we were sky high in Colorado. Lips pressed against the bottle, swearing on the Bible, baby, I never leave it. I remember how bad I need it when I taste tequila. I can almost hear it, come on. When I taste tequila. Now somebody scream. Somebody brand new and not even think about it. I can show up to the same bar, hear the same songs in my car. Baby, a memory, it only hits me this hard. When I taste tequila, baby, I still see you. Cutting up the floor in a sorority t-shirt, the same one you wore when we were sky high in Colorado. Lips pressed against the bottle, swearing on the Bible, baby, I never leave it. I remember how bad I need it when I taste tequila. When I taste tequila. Oh, now give me everything you got, Miami. I ain't even drunk, and I'm thinking how I need your love, how I need your love. Yeah, it sings, sing. When I taste tequila, baby, I still see you. Sporty t-shirt, the same one you wore when we were sky high in Colorado. Lips pressed against the bottle, swearing on the Bible, baby, I never leave it. I remember how bad I need it when I taste tequila. Oh yeah, when I taste tequila. Oh, when I taste tequila. When I taste tequila.
Miami, thank you so much.
The Hyundai Super Bowl 54 pregame show is sponsored by the all-new Sonata and by Minions: The Rise of Gru. Watch the trailer Wednesday.
Patrick Mahomes is almost in the building. He is at Hard Rock Stadium getting ready to play his first Super Bowl. Of course, winning the MVP last year at the age of 23. Now at 24, making his first start in the biggest game on the planet. Now, Mahomes is the son of a former Major League pitcher, Pat Mahomes. He was also a two-sport star coming out of high school, even getting drafted by the Detroit Tigers. That's a similar scenario to another once-in-a-generation athlete, Alex Rodriguez. He grew up here in Miami, tearing it up in the same two sports.
I fell in love with sports in Miami, and not just baseball. When it comes to football, a lot of people know me for this. But I played quarterback in high school, too. I was even offered a scholarship to play quarterback at the University of Miami. And I fell in love with football because of one local legend.
Alex, higher relief. Higher relief. Dan, good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
How you doing, man? How's
Good,
your
doing
family?
great, man.
You want to play a little catch?
Sure, man. Let me see the ball first.
You know, when you got here in the mid-'80s, you lit this town on fire.
Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. No, you can't control yourself any longer.
As a kid, it was like Miami Vice and Dan Marino.
There you go.
One of the greatest days of my life, I was probably like 12. I had a football. You signed it, and you put your arm around me. I was really nervous, and you said, man, you're a good-looking kid. You have a bright future. Man, I went home, and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I have a chance to make it. Danny approves. One of the greatest nights of my life was when you beat the Bears.
Okay, it was one of my great nights, too.
Right? It was like David against Goliath.
The place was rocking, too.
It was just awesome.
It was good times, man.
Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga.
Want to do a little throwing contest?
Sure.
Because I got to, bring out my 13 Marino jersey. That's why I wore 13.
Well, I got one, too.
All right, let's go. Yeah. Fire. All right, Dan, I have Mark Lane, you have Mark Duper. Your serve. Damn! Fox. It was awesome. A lot of fun. I can do this all day. What else are we going to do?
I'm good.
Dan? Dan, one more, Dan.
Guys are great in one sport. Love telling you how great they were in another sport. A-Rod, of course, a member of our Fox family, part of the MLB on Fox team, joining us right now. Hey, you know what? I understand that this week, while you were in town, you had a chance to go back to a local Boys and Girls Club, the one where you actually started playing baseball.
Kurt, I did. It was a very special day coming back with Fox and making a big donation. But to think that's where I learned how to play baseball, and to think that I hit my first home run as a 9-year-old under the lights, into the bushes, it's a very special place. It saved my life.
It really did, and as most Boys and Girls Clubs, Howie will attest to, has done that for a lot of young men and women. Now, we talked about Patrick Mahomes being the son of a baseball player. You actually played with his dad, Pat. Do you remember Patrick at all as a kid?
I did, and Pat Sr. was a great pitcher and a fun guy, but little Patrick Mahomes was 6 years old. He would put the balls in the tee for me, and I said, Patrick, look here. Whatever you do not play football. Baseball is where the money is, baby. Thank God he didn't listen to me. He's ready to go. I've been texting with him all week. He's amped up. He's going to have a good one tonight.
All right, look, we've talked baseball, and we're just kind of setting you up. You know, the only reason you're on this show really is because you can give us inside scoopage on the halftime performance of J-Lo, right?
That's it. I know my worth. I know my worth.
What do you got? What can we look forward to?
I'm outside the trailer here. It's locked. Maybe that's a bad sign. But look, this morning I was looking forward to, sleeping in, going to yoga, watching your show. Instead, I get nudged out of bed at 8:30. We're in the gym at 9. We're crushing it. She's crushing it. I'm watching. But all week long it's been awesome. I've been an Uber driver, security, chef. Bottom line is this. She's going to crush it today. She's had her Michael Jordan game face all day. She's on the way to the building. It's going to be an awesome show.
You said you were crushing it, and we noticed you reading on the elliptical machine. So you weren't crushing it too hard. It's crushing it like I do, basically, when you're in the gym. Thank you so much, A-Rod. We'll have him back a little bit later on to get an update as to what's going on right before the halftime show. All right. Well, hopefully the halftime goes a little bit more smoothly than what we're about to see. Take a look at what might be the most unusual combination of characters ever put together for a Super Bowl spot.
Hey, DJ, I got to tell you, buddy, this tequila is fantastic.
Thank you. It comes out in March, but I got a big surprise. Every player on both teams will have a bottle of my new tequila waiting for them after the game.
Oh,
pretty good. But don't worry, Gronk, I got a case for you. As a matter of fact, I'll give you 2.
Oh, better make it 3. All right, let's play this game. Ready? All right. Never have I started my own movie franchise. Here.
Wow.
What? I was in Waterboy.
He was in Waterboy. Never have I ever achieved my dream of playing in the NFL.
Oh.
Hey, you guys are living my dream. That's what I'm saying.
Keep it up. You'll make it one day, kid. Keep trying.
Yes. Gentlemen, here is to hard work in creating amazing opportunities, whatever that may be. Salute. Salute. Salute, brother.
Welcome back to the Hyundai Super Bowl 54 pregame show on Fox.
Ever since she was a little girl, Katie Sowers has loved football. She'd write in a journal about her dreams to one day be on a real team. She played professionally and was captain for Team USA.
It's not enough. Leave your dreams collecting dust, but there's a fire that you can't hide.
4 years ago, doors finally opened for her to work in the NFL. Today, Katie makes history as the first woman and openly gay coach to reach the Super Bowl. She's an inspiration, a role model, a trailblazer, and she's my twin. Katie, you did it. From grandma's backyard to the Super Bowl. You are living your dream, and it makes me so proud. I love you.
What a fantastic story. Great for her and sister to take part in it. Monumental moment in the history of the National Football League. Well, our aerial coverage today brought to you by Bud Light Seltzer. We have been talking about Katie Sowers and the San Francisco 49ers, her boss John Lynch. He won a Super Bowl title as a player. Now he looks to add another as the 49ers general manager. And in between those two careers, this modern-day Renaissance man was a top-notch analyst for us right here on Fox with his buddy Kevin Burkhardt.
Hi,
everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. Alongside my partner, John Lynch, I'm Kevin Burkhardt.
What's up, my man? Good to see you. It feels like it was just yesterday, but 3 years ago, you and I are doing games together, and now here you are. It's crazy how fast time has gone.
Yeah, it really is. There were a few people that it was really difficult when this kind of came about. You know, first of all, I had to talk to my family, and then I had to pick up the phone and call you. We had some great times, and yeah, here we are 3 years later.
So the last game we did together, Kyle Shanahan happens to be the offensive coordinator. Can you take us through how things progressed quickly?
I think in that divisional game, there was a touchdown to Tevin Coleman.
Tevin Coleman exposes this defense, and Kyle Shanahan's so smart.
The way he hit it blew my mind. And I said, you know, hey, owners, if you're out there, I don't know what you're waiting for.
I'd be hiring that guy in a second.
The next week, I called Kyle to say, hey, that was masterful. And as a throwaway line, he kind of mentions, I really like the San Francisco situation. I'm just really struggling to find a GM that I would be comfortable working with. It was one of those deals where I couldn't go to bed for like 3 nights. And I texted him, I said, give me a call when you have a chance. He gives me a call, and I said, hey, that deal you said about you can't find a GM, how about me? And I think his comment, some dude named Jed is going to be giving you a call. So, some dude. Jed York gave me a call, and the rest is history. Wow.
I can promise you this, we're going to assemble a team that will make you proud.
46 of the 53 guys are all new since this regime took over. Tell me about what the mold was that you were going for here in this transformation.
It's John Lynch. How you doing, buddy? You want to be a 49er?
What do we believe builds a championship team? We talk about 2 things, talent and spirit. We want guys that absolutely love football.
All across the nation, such a strange vibration.
That's how they built this place, the 49er way, and we wanted to bring that back.
For those who come to San Francisco.
Last very important thing, if you guys are fortunate to get it done. I have spent a lot of time with you, and I know when things are good, you tend to sing a little bit. You know, maybe get out there. And so if Terry's out there and hands you the mic, do we see a John Lynch serenade?
That's probably not the time, but I promise you'll be singing that night. As will the whole crowd.
That was fun, and when I presented the George Halas Trophy, one of the wonderful things about the marriage between Shanahan and Lynch. I'm going to briefly just bring up the last 2 great quarterback, John Elway, from Stanford, along with Lynch from Stanford. Something about these guys from Stanford. We know they're smart, but it's a great marriage. Shanahan coaches them up. He gets the X's and O's. He's got the great running game, and then, of course, John Lynch comes in. He makes the perfect draft. Don't forget when Garoppolo went down with the knee, that pushed them down in the draft and allowed them to move up and get who? They got Boza at defensive end. Great job, great marriage between Lynch and Shanahan.
I remember when John was hired, it raised a lot of eyebrows. And in short order, John and Kyle, the important thing as a group, essentially made this team over. Both the talent level and the culture was changed, and with 46 new acquisitions, essentially reworking every positional group. This is a young team, it's a talented team, and they're on a run that they hope is the first of many.
Yeah, you look at the 49ers, they've got the right combination. Well, Kansas City's got the right combination as well to have a successful NFL franchise. Got a great head coach with Andy Reid. Then you got a great front office. First of all, it was General Manager John Dorsey. Now it's General Manager Brett Veach. Veach was the guy, the driving force to get Patrick Mahomes. Not only did he identify that he was going to be a great player, he pushed him into the draft. And then he looked at the draft and said, oh, who's going to pick a quarterback? He moved up in the draft to make sure they got Patrick Mahomes.
It's amazing we focus so much on players and coaches. Front offices putting the team together is a bigger reason that teams are here than anything else. All right, we're going to step in the Wayback Machine just a little bit because it was 20 years ago that Jimmy Kimmel and his cousin Sal started their network careers picking games right here on our pregame show. Now, you can find Cousin Sal over on FS1. But no matter where he is, you can count on one thing from Cousin Sal: trouble.
Cousin Sal here in Miami for Super Bowl 54. Chiefs versus 49ers. Joe Montana versus old Joe Montana. Tonight, 53 players will become champions and one head coach will be showered in Gatorade. The Gatorade dump has been a Super Bowl tradition since 1987 when the Giants' Bill Parcells, a.k.a. the Big Tuna, needed to be submerged in liquid to stay alive. Since then, no winning coach has been safe. And the last time it happened here in Miami was Super Bowl 44 when Saints head coach Sean Payton got doused by defensive end Bobby McCray. I'm lucky to have both these gentlemen here with me today. Coach, let me ask you first, what went through your visor when you felt that massive amount of yellow liquid hit your face?
It's kind of a sudden shock. I mean, it caught the top back right of my head. It's freezing cold. It's a good problem to have, though.
Absolutely. And Bobby, what about you? Well, take me through the process. How was it determined that you were going to be the one to do the dousing?
Well, it was a spur of the moment type thing. It was a hard-fought win, hard season. Me and Jeff Charleston just talked about it after the game. It was just a spur.
Oh, wow! That's unfortunate.
10 years later, I've been waiting for that, McCray. You don't know how good that feels right there. How's that feel? Huh?
Exhilarating.
Sticky?
Wow, well, I'm glad I could help even things up for you guys. Exactly. It was a Peyton payback, exactly what it was. As far as my Super Bowl pick goes, I think San Francisco limits Kansas City's possession, runs the ball all night. Final score, 49ers 28. Chiefs 24.
Who that said they're going to beat them Saints?
You got to give us some. Come on.
I guess that means I win.
A little something.
Welcome to the club.
Back to whoever.
It's not like Strahan did Jay Glazer back in the pregame early in the season. I know exactly what that feels like. It's not fun.
You know, the sale is taking the 49ers. You're at home to join the fun. Picking tonight's game, you have a shot at winning $250,000. All you've got to do is download the Fox Sports Super 6 app. You get to play for free. These guys will make their official pick later on in the show. But right now, one of the questions of the Super 6 is very simple. Who will score the first touchdown of the game? You get to pick either team. Why don't we start with you, Jay?
You gonna start with me? I'm actually gonna go with Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce.
Jimmy?
I'm going with Kelce. I like it. There you go.
San Fran's been starting faster than Kansas City. They're going to score first. It's going to be Mostert.
I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel.
I'm going to go with Kittle, tight end from 49ers. He's your guy.
He's your guy.
Yeah.
We have to head over to the stadium. We've got much more coming your way in just a bit. But before we do, we want to make sure we thank the people that have come out here this evening and took part in Get a Pregame Show. We love them. They have been absolutely fantastic. They will be here. You stay where you are. Coming up here on the Pregame Show, Sean Hannity of Fox News will interview President Trump. Carissa Thompson will be joined by Patrick Mahomes and Troy Aikman to talk about the matchup in this game. And the next time we see you will be from the stadium. We cannot wait to get there. You gotta get the car. You gotta go, guys. Say goodbye to people. Love you.
Welcome back to Super Bowl 54 pregame show on Fox. We are now less than 3 hours to kick off between the 49ers and the Chiefs, and we're coming to you live from the NFL's Game Day Fan Plaza right outside Hard Rock Stadium. Hello, everyone. I am Carissa Thompson. I am happy to make it over here from South Beach. Thankfully, I have a little help from my friends, Hall of Famer Troy Aikman, 3-time Super Bowl champion Rob Gronkowski, 3-time Pro Bowler Greg Olsen, and Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez. And if that intro didn't give them a big enough head, maybe this will. Roll the animation. It's a little group we're calling Troy and the Tight Ends. How do you feel about that? Who's the singer of the group? Rob?
Oh, yeah, I'm the singer.
Well, he's the backup dancer. This is the best dancer in the league.
Definitely feel out of place with this group.
I'll sing. I'll sing.
Would you like to elaborate more on that? Kidding. Troy, you've got a huge responsibility, of course, today calling the game, your 6th Super Bowl that you've called. Each one, I imagine, gets bigger and better. And, I mean, even look at this crowd, for example. It's a spectacle.
Well, it's fantastic. I mean, I think when you look at the matchup between these two teams that are very fresh. We haven't seen them, of course, in a long time. For Kansas City, it's been over 50 years. And, you know, so this is an exciting day for all football fans. It's going to be a great show.
We will be updating you guys on the commute the guys had at some traffic, if you will, in Miami on their way over. But in the meantime, Greg, we had a chance to talk with you in the first hour, but I know there was some news between you and the Panthers mutually agreeing to part ways.
Mutually agreeing.
Okay.
Conscious uncoupling.
Yes, conscious uncoupling.
It's been a full week down here in Miami, but you know what? I'm taking it in stride. I'm enjoying it.
hanging out with my guys here, enjoying this unbelievable crowd.
You look very comfortable.
I'm feeling good. No one's hitting me.
Are you okay? Do you need some therapy, Greg?
It's been emotional. It's been emotional, but I've been able to get a lot of my feelings out with my guys here. We're having a blast.
I was going to say emotional sitting next to this guy, but you know that Patriots might need a tight end, so you might want to swap.
I'm their
numbers,
backup.
Belichick.
I'm like their fallback date. They're trying to get Gronk back, and if they don't get him, I'm like third in line.
Well, we are lucky enough to have these legendary tight ends with us because tonight's game, of course, features arguably the best tight end matchup in Super Bowl history. San Francisco's George Kittle against KC's Travis Kelce. There you go. The crowd reacts to that one. More on that later because that's not the end of the story. There's plenty of other stars ready to shine in Super Bowl 54.
There is no fear. The 49ers just absolutely dominating.
In order for you to play this team, you got to love the game because it's not going to be all about you going out here and catching every ball.
It's just so easy to play hard. You know, I see a guy who busts his butt for me every single day. I'm like, you know, it's just easy. Let me go do it for my guy. Let me go do it for my brother next to me.
Nick Bosa comes in unblocked. Got him in a sack.
A big part of our success is just our mentality and our will and our want to run the ball.
Kyle Juszczyk with an amazing block.
Your speed and your relentlessness can make up for any mistake there might be.
Ride that wave, Mosterati! This offense of Kansas City is having its way right now.
We want to score 100 points, and that's our mentality. We are all electrifying. We all can take the ball to the crib.
Going for Tyreek Hill. He's got it. It's a Sammy Watkins Palooza.
Plus, we got an MVP quarterback, so anything's possible, baby.
Maybe the best play yet of Patrick Mahomes.
Pat is Pat. God gives him an ability that he didn't give most quarterbacks, and he used it.
Do something special. We got everything we want. We got to make the play.
Talk watching the Harlem Globetrotters.
We're going for the juggler, and we're ruthless.
You know, we've heard the storylines all week long, Troy. About how you're going to cover this game. On Monday, we will be saying what?
Well, hey, I think if you look at this ball game, I think for Kansas City, it's real simple. If they're able to protect Mahomes, they're going to have a lot of success moving the football. On the other side of the ball for San Francisco, as good as Kansas City has gotten later in the year defensively, I believe San Francisco is going to run the football against them. It may be a struggle early. I do expect Garoppolo to have an impact on this game, and I think it's going to happen real early in the ball game.
Your takeaway?
I like the Kansas City Chiefs. Their offense is just too high-powered. They got Sammy Watkins and the glue to it all, Travis Kelce. I mean, he's going to have a big game. He's been waiting for this stage for a while now. Travis Kelce is going to be ready. And on top of it, the 49ers pass rush, they have been struggling versus mobile quarterbacks. And Patrick Mahomes isn't just an elite passer, he's also a very good mobile quarterback that's hard to take down. I say Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce is going to have a big game.
Greg, difference maker in this game?
Yeah, I think all week, I think Kansas City's defense is sitting there saying, you know, what about us? We hear so much about the San Francisco defense, of course, the Kansas City offense. I think this Kansas City defense, Tyrann Mathieu, Chris Jones, I think they have something to prove this week. And I expect them to come out, challenge Garoppolo, challenge this Kyle Shanahan offense. And I think today is a big coming out party for them.
Absolutely. And speaking of coming out party, somebody you talked about in there, I think he's going to have a huge impact on this game is Chris Jones. I think he's the second best defensive tackle in the NFL. Second in sacks to Aaron Donald over the last couple years. He's going to have a huge impact. And the other side of the ball, watch for D Ford. Everybody knows the story. Jumping off sides, got traded out of there. Tell me he's not going to be motivated to go out there and play his best game.
Looking for that redemption game. Well, we mentioned this great tight end matchup tonight. And when we come back, we'll hit the football field to show why George Kittle and Travis Kelce are perennial all-pros. Plus, we'll get to know both of these superstars. And trust me, folks, they're not boring. Stay with us.
Welcome to the Pizza Hut Super Bowl 54 pregame show on Fox.
What he did, what that team did, it's the standard of being a San Francisco 49er, and we're doing everything in our power to get back to that. It's both inspiring and it's also a goal to get to where they were.
I remember seeing Tony wearing a pair of Jordans and him actually dunking one over the goalpost. I thought it was the coolest thing. He's Jordan on the field. It's cool to see him go down as the greatest tight end ever played.
Tonight, the Niners take on the Chiefs to find greatest group of tight ends ever. And also Greg. Thank you for being here, Greg.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm glad I'm here. Hey, thanks, guys. That went well.
I really do believe the stars of this Super Bowl are you two. I mean, usually it's the quarterback or...
There's a few stars.
There's stars there.
A couple guys, yeah.
But you guys are the personalities. You guys are the soul of your teams, as far as I'm concerned. Are you a dancer?
No, I struggle.
You see, you guys lose hips.
Yo, you got some moves.
Where did you get those moves from?
You know what? I definitely didn't get them from my brother. I don't know. I guess I get in the end zone. I'm on the dance floor, baby.
What kind of music do you listen to? Because every time I watch you play, I think heavy metal.
Oh, man.
Like Metallica.
Are you kidding? Just
Slayer.
That's already
Isn't it like that?
just a mosh pit.
I switched up a lot. I'm more of like a soothing before games. I like to be relaxed and focused. But yeah, the heavy metal stuff, that's more my dad's speed.
What's the first time in history I would say that the two top tight ends in the league are in the Super Bowl facing each other? What's that relationship like?
Travis is a guy that, I watched him when I was in college. And then my first time meeting him was last year when he played the Chiefs. He came up to me, said hi.
He said hi.
It was, what's up, man?
Hey, George.
Hey, what's up, George?
Hi, George.
Yeah, but like, for me, like, that was a guy that I've been watching. To me, like, one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And I was just like, holy cow, like, Travis Kelce just said what's up to me. And then next thing I know, at the end of the season, he sends me his jersey as like a Christmas present. That was one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me. When you have someone like that in your corner, it's pretty special.
I'm learning from him, just like I learned from you guys. Coming into the league, the first thing I did was, oh man, I gotta try and fill this guy's shoes. So the first thing I did was, let me go see what he was about. Let me go really dissect the film. And you had an unbelievable way of finding the voids. And then on top of that, watching Gronk throughout his entire career, he's playing with his tempo and his route to manipulate his defender. And when I saw that, I was like, man, I have more time out there than what I really think I do. Because everything's happening so fast. And then Kittle comes in the league and he's a madman when he has the ball. Dude, just a madman. Like, he came up to me like, I'm just fast. I'm like, no, you are a son of a buck when you got the ball. Like, you are running through stuff, around stuff.
We try to make people miss.
Yeah.
You guys are trying to run people over.
Not everyone wants to be physical on a football field for some reason. Like, so when I, get the ball and I square a guy up and I see him like he's kind of slow plays it, I'm gonna try to run through his face. It works for me. So for me, like, when you pancake a guy and you feel their breath exhale, like, to me, that's their soul leaving their body.
You just took their man card?
Yeah. Like, that's what it means to me. So
I respect that. I respect that.
So like, when I get that deep exhale, like I just knocked the wind out of them, I'm like, yeah, I got you. You're done.
All right, boys. It's been great sitting down with you. Go out there and shine. Make us proud, right?
Yes, make us proud. Tight ends, baby.
This is legendary. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you sitting down with us.
Are you kidding me?
George, man.
How about we do this again? We should do this.
Let's do it one more time.
Well, we all know that the 49ers want to run the football. A big part of that success is having Kittle in there blocking. This year, the Niners averaged almost 2 yards less per carry when Kittle was out. Tony, great job with that interview as you see George Kittle arriving to the stadium. That guy's as happy as Gronk is. What makes him such a terrific blocker, Tony?
Well, we were talking about this before. To be a good blocker, it's not about can you, it's will you. And do you find real enjoyment in blocking? And that's what George Kittle does. Every time he goes out there and puts his hand in the dirt, like he said, he is trying to snatch your soul out of your body. You're going to see this triple block here, him in the tackle, up to that linebacker. And this is all part of it. Look at him in there. He relentless pursuit. And this is all extra right here. This is not even part of the play. He's just going there looking for work to get his block. And then you see this. Look at him bury this guy. And then watch this. The smile on his face, the pure enjoyment of this madman. That's why he is an outstanding blocker.
I love a demonstration. So, Rob and Greg, if you don't mind coming up here, show me what Kittle does so well at the point of attack.
All right, well, first off, when Kittle comes off the ball, he comes off with explosiveness, and that's what it's all about. You got to get that explosive, get into the chest of the defender. When he comes off, boom, he's quick to it. And what makes Kittle so great is he gets the engine roaring by moving his feet, and once he gets the feet moving, he doesn't stop. So, boom, right up the ball, and then he keeps running, boom, comes up next level, boom, to the next guy. That's what Kittle does best. He brings that passion to the blocking.
I think we need an ISO cam just on Troy watching Gronk do a demonstration.
At some point, I thought he was going to, wrestle me. I was totally braced up. And as you can see from the video, they patterned their game a lot after me, So I think these guys have done a good job showing them and pretty incredible.
Travis Kelce, what does he do, Greg, so well on the other side?
I think the thing you see with Kelce is He does such a great job with his feet. He's never going to take a guy down the middle. He's going to use his feet, and he's going to get to some edge. When he gets to the top, this is where he makes his separation, and he gets that separation. At the top of the route with his feet, his athleticism is where he gains all that ground, and he gives a nice, great target for Mahomes to throw the ball to.
I was just going to say, that's a nice target for you.
It is, yeah. I mean, I had a guy in Jay Novacek with Dallas, but when you talk about Travis Kelce, he's like these three guys. You know, they're big, physical, they can outrun a lot of the bigger guys. And what makes Kelce, I think, so good is some of the creativity that he has within his route. And playing with a guy like Pat Mahomes allows him some of that freelance because of the
Well, the crowd just got even louder because look who showed up.
You guys made. How was the fire on the island? Yes, Jimmy.
How'd it go, Kurt?
Oh, couldn't you guys better. We are going to turn. By the way, hey, Kurt, here's a baton. I pass it back to you. You take it from here.
Don't expect me to be the anchor though, because I can be the first leg. You are the anchor leg. You're the fast one, right? Thank you so much. This has been fantastic.
So happy you guys are here, safe and sound. Just get this crowd louder. That would be great.
Welcome back to the Pizza Hut Super Bowl 54 pregame show on Fox.
The Super Bowl. Two teams wearing red, performing in the swirl of a symphony of artists. Painting, directing, composing, orchestrating, outfitting, televising.
And you'll say,
Staging the grandeur of the National Football League's championship spectacle. It's almost time.
And we are live here at Miami's Hard Rock Stadium, side of Super Bowl 54. After 150 days of this NFL season, 30 teams have been eliminated. 2 remain, and by the end of the night, only 1 will be left standing as the Super Bowl champion. In just a few hours, we'll find out if it's the 49ers or the Kansas City Chiefs as we have made our way from South Beach to right out here in Game Day Fan Plaza. Guys, look at this. Hey, what's up? Cam here?
Daddy Cam,
we come
with
here.
us. Come
I want
on
to
with
see
us.
something because I'm looking around. I see Chiefs fans everywhere, but there's got to be one little 49er fan. You're here by yourself, but you have some support for your Niners?
Yeah.
Who?
Kittle.
Kittle? Okay, Kittle's your support. That's all you need, brother. Thank you. All right, you got fans all over this place.
I got a question.
Nuts.
Did you go to him because he has that sign of your face, by the way?
Oh, that sign? No, I was there because he's the only 49er fan I could find. I'm sure there are many more here because this game, 65,000 will be here. Probably will be evenly split. We'll find out. You want to talk about numbers? Let's get into the city of Miami because 70% of the population here is Latino. So it makes perfect sense to tap into the city's rich Latin history and have the Super Bowl halftime show brought to you by Pepsi feature a little Latin flavor. Michael Strahan got a chance to get the lowdown from tonight's performers and maybe even some scoopings about potential surprise guests.
Ladies, the moment is almost here. Super Bowl halftime show. So I'm curious, did it seem like time has flown by since the announcement?
No.
And now you're almost on stage.
We're ready to take a year off after this.
It's been that much work.
It's been intense, you know. Like, what did you call it earlier? Like it's
Holy Grail?
The Holy Grail of live performances. You know, have you been to my shows? You know, to Shakira shows, you know, we move around. We're not those artists that just stay by the microphone.
Yeah, at the end of this interview, I'm going to dance a little bit of each of your styles.
Are you?
If you like me to, I'd gladly do that.
I'm saying it's intense and it's been a lot of work, but we have had the best time.
This is a special moment because you told the first 2 Latina acts to headline the Super Bowl halftime show.
It means a lot. First of all, to be the first of anything like that is huge because it becomes an inspiration for other people. I know I needed that when I was growing up.
This is an amazing opportunity, but also a responsibility to represent little girls, women out there, but also my community.
I think we feel like we're on home turf here
Yeah.
for us. And I think that's what they wanted. They wanted to have it something that represented the city and the culture here.
And you both said, well, could never believe we're here. But there was never a moment when you were growing up that you said, you know what? I want to do the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Was there ever a time?
Of course. I grew up in a football family in the sense that every Sunday during football season, it was football. It was the Jets. And you know, we haven't won since
The
I was
Jets,
born.
you know I didn't play for the Jets, right?
Right.
I just want you to know.
I know that, baby. But my dad was a Jets fan, and so was my mom, and they still are.
First day of rehearsals at the Hard Rock Stadium. Check it out.
We've seen a lot of stuff on the NFL Instagram. You two getting ready for the show.
Yeah.
It's safe to say there's going to be some dancing because I've been looking at your videos.
No, we're not gonna dance.
You're not going to dance.
Yeah, we're doing
Breaking news.
We're doing
There will be no dancing.
an acoustic set. It's in the curling guitar, me on the harmonica. That's it.
What would you consider to be the overall theme of the show?
Party. Yeah. Fun, energy, entertaining, excitement.
Cannot wait to see you perform. And as promised,
Hey! Hey! Yes! Hired! Oh, you have been to my shows.
hey, thank you, ladies.
I'm not sure, Michael, were you dancing or did you have a condition going on?
Well, you know, I channeled some of those old videos. I saw my man JJ dance. That's where that came from. There we go. There we go, Jimmy. Bring the flavor.
Jimmy's got a little bit more rhythm than Michael, I think.
Did he come out of there with any tens in his pocket?
What was that?
Did he come out of there with any tens in his pocket? I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go to the
They
bathroom.
do that. I
You
don't
wouldn't know
know if
nothing
we've
about
seen this before. We're about 3.5 hours before the halftime show. And just moments ago, the halftime star is already here, Jennifer Lopez, giving our A-Rod a hug. And maybe we should say her A-Rod a hug because they do have quite the relationship. A-Rod joins us again right now for our inside scoop. It's behind the scenes access. And A-Rod, obviously, everybody's going to ask you. No microphone there. But tell us just a little bit of what she said to you.
Yeah, she just walked in. She feels great. Look, she's happiest when the family's here, and her mom's here, her sisters are here, the 4 kids are here. She's ready to go. She has her game face on, but I will tell you one tip that you'll see at halftime tonight, and that is it will be a family affair, okay? Now, I can't tell you any more than that, or else I'll get kicked out of the house. Terry, you know exactly how that feels like.
He said you got kicked out of the house before.
Yes, several times. and I never got back in, if you know what I'm saying.
Thank you so much for the access, A-Rod. Make sure you catch Shakira and Jennifer Lopez as part of the Pepsi halftime show here at the Super Bowl. All right. J-Lo comes your way at halftime. Before that, though, we've got a live performance from Miami native and Grammy winner Pitbull. That's Jimmy's guy. Then we'll get to some football, sitting down with both head coaches, the Niners' Kyle Shanahan, and the Chiefs' Andy Reid, along with the 2 starting quarterbacks in this team, Jimmy Garoppolo and Patrick Mahomes. That and much more is on the way as we continue. There's a musical icon. JC is in the house. He's probably one of your boys there, isn't he?
I know Jay a little bit. Big football guy.
You ease my mind, you make everything feel.
The Pizza Hut Super Bowl 54 pregame show is sponsored by Pizza Hut, official sponsor of the NFL.
We celebrate in this city of sunshine. Creativity and colors which enlighten, surprise, energize. Miami's urban Wynwood district, embracing rainbows of originality. Warehouses once, but concrete and brick, transformed into enormous canvases. Imagine endless Super Bowl fields, buffed and brought to life by this vibrant city's acclaimed and emerging artists. The Wynwood District, inspiring the largest display of street art the world over, and this week in the company of the pro football world in South Florida.
Well, you can see artwork all over South Florida, and as you heard in the Wynwood District in particular. But they also added a little mural this week in honor of the passing of Kobe Bryant, him taking on another Miami icon there, and Dwayne Wade in basketball. And you know what, really, it's throughout the country. We're all still in shock about the sudden death of Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and 7 other souls lost in that tragic helicopter crash 1 week ago today. It's still hard to believe that Kobe is gone, but his inspiration carries on. The Niners' Richard Sherman was a friend of Kobe Bryant. And now Sherman honors the memory of his fallen friend who won an Oscar for his poem entitled Dear Basketball by sharing with us an open letter to the game he loves.
Dear football, from the moment I started lacing my dad's cleats and catching imaginary game-winning interceptions in the Super Bowl, I knew one thing was real. I fell in love with you. A love so deep, I gave you my all. From my mind and body to my spirit and soul. I played through the sweat and hurt. Not because the challenge called me, but because you called me. I did everything for you. Because that's what you do when someone makes you feel as alive as you made me feel. I want you to know that I've savored every moment that we've spent together. The good and the bad. We have given each other all we have. We love you, Kobe. We love you, Gianna. Love always, Richard.
Look, so many of us have been affected in many ways, even those of us that didn't know him directly. You can see the hurt that Richard Sherman feels as a personal friend. As he showed up at the stadium here just moments ago, he was wearing a Kobe Bryant jersey to honor his friend, that number 8. You know what, Michael? It's kind of hard for all of us to talk about this, but you knew him as well.
Yeah, Kobe was a friend, and I'm lucky enough to call him my friend. But he was a guy who transcended his sport. You know, most guys and people in their sport are motivated by him, but he motivated everyone because he had a tenacity, he had a willingness and a commitment to be the great and to be the best of whatever he did. And I had a chance to spend time with him after he had retired. He did Dear Basketball, and talking to him about that, he put the same kind of commitment into everything after basketball. That's why he won an Oscar for it. And his commitment is a great lesson for so many of us out there. If you're going to do something, go all out at it, and always do your best at it, and don't let anybody tell you what you cannot be and how great you can be. And I just always loved that about Kobe. He made you and still makes you want to be the best at whatever you're committed to.
He's approachable. That's the thing I knew about Kobe, is that he's approachable not only to me and people that are somewhat celebrities, but to everybody. And that's the thing that was so marvelous about him. Such a humble guy, full of humility. And that's why the people in the world basically just fell in love with this guy.
We've heard story after story. Unfortunately, it takes someone's passing for a lot of these stories to come out. But just how common he was when he was around children, people, whatever, embracing people, falling in love with him and wanting to take pictures and those kind of things. And I think that you can show just how big he is, because you talk about him being in the NBA. It's touched every area of our country. The NFL, in fact, has planned a special moment involving both the Chiefs and 49ers before kickoff. We'll carry that for you right here on the air when it happens. Well, Bryant was heavily involved in the communities he called home, as we all should be. That spirit was evident during this 100th NFL season, the spirit of giving. The league began a campaign called Huddle for 100, meant to inspire ordinary folks to donate at least 100 minutes of their time to a worthy cause. The initial goal was to reach 1 million minutes. Right now, it's at more than 300 million minutes, and the commitment hasn't stopped.
This is a special day for us, and we thank you guys for being here and to help us work in this community and try to make a difference here in Miami.
With the Huddle for 100, you saw league-wide just a boost and everybody getting involved in the community, whether it was through their teams or through their own endeavors.
It's an incredible initiative by the NFL to have 30 Walter Payton Man of the Year nominees out here.
Walter Payton was a man who treated the janitor the same as he treated the owner of the team, and that's special. And so I'm honored to be a part of it.
You got a little something in there. Let's see if you can catch, though. Say go. Man ain't dropped one yet. Just paying it forward and showing them how to serve, not just being out here serving them. So it's been great so far.
All right, the Huddle for 100. You saw in that piece, Calais Campbell named NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year last night. Congratulations to him. Up next, we've got a live performance here at the stadium from Pitbull as the countdown to kickoff continues. But everything leads to Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs to find out who's the best team in football.
The Pizza Hut Super Bowl 54 pregame show is sponsored by Hunter, starring Al Pacino, only on Amazon Prime Video.
Grab a pom-pom and stay a while. You know what I mean? As the countdown to Super Bowl 54 on Fox continues here in Miami. The city's second favorite son is about to take over the stage. They don't call him Mr. 305 for nothing, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Grammy award-winning artist and producer, Pitbull. Fireball.
Want a good time? If you want a good time, let me hear you say, everybody say, if you want a good time, if you want a good time, let me hear you say, everybody say, if you want a good time, if you want a good time, let me hear you say, everybody say, if you want a good time, if you want a good time, get 'em up, get 'em up, get 'em up. Wow. Yeah, we opened in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the run. That boy's so solid. That's what happened when you come from the bottom. 305 Paradise City, where the girls got big old booties and so pretty. Shake that thing, work that thing, drop that thing. Put your hands up. Now say, oh, get ready, Payment Land. Oh, get ready, Payment Land. Oh, get ready, Payment Land. Get ready to ride. Yes, sir. Oh, get ready, Payment Land. Oh, get ready, Payment Land. 305 in the street, go it girl, get loose, get lit, go it girl, get it in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the win. That boy's so solid, that's what happened when you come from the bottom. 305, Paradise City, where the girls got big old booties and so pretty. Shake that thing, work that thing, drop that thing. Put your hands up, now say, oh, get ready, oh, get ready, oh, get ready, get ready to ride. Let's ride. If you want a good time, if you want a good time, let me hear you say, hey, everybody say. If you want a good time, if you want a good time, let me hear you say, hey, everybody say. Put your hands in the sky, put your hands in the sky, put your hands in the sky. Put them up, put them up, put them up, put them up, put them up. That's right. Payment Land. Payment Land. So, oh, get ready, oh, get ready to ride. Yes, sir. Break it down.
Welcome back to the Super Bowl 54 pregame show presented by Pizza Hut. A lot of work goes into preparing for the Super Bowl, especially for Joe and Troy. Ever wonder how they get ready for the big game?
Hey, you guys ready for the game tonight?
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Tough matchup. Good thing we have Pizza Hut here tonight. It is the most important part of our pregame prep.
This pizza's delicious. You guys are geniuses.
Pretty much. Hey, Jimmy, you here to give us a pregame speech?
Oh, actually, just making sure the Pizza Hut's here. Looks like I'm right on time.
On time for what? Shouldn't you be doing a pregame show?
Wow, I didn't know Pizza Hut had wings. These wings are massive.
Hey, I'm here for the pizza and wings.
Oh, and you just happen to be in the area.
Oh, Jimmy told me to stop by.
What's happening?
Pizza Hut? I knew I came to the right place, man.
I wish we had our own entrance music. Seriously.
Let's get this party started.
You send out party invites to our pregame?
This pizza is legit.
Believe that.
Like you guys are going to eat all this Pizza Hut by yourselves.
Makes a good point.
between you and Troy. No, Troy. You think that was bad, Jimmy? We have some outtakes from what they didn't use here. What is that?
That's a robot. Hey, I do them all. Hey,
Robot.
Hey, did you like my little spin move?
Hey,
that's cool, man.
I went blind with the first shot of that robot.
I'm waiting for him to do the Charleston or the Funky Chicken. I mean, he's going way back in the time machine. I guess the 49ers, maybe they'll be dancing tonight if they win their first Super Bowl in 25 years. And if defense wins championship, we'll hang up the disco ball in the Niners locker room because their D ranked second in the league during the regular season, and they're number 1 in the playoffs. Christina Pink joins us now with more. And Christina, don't worry, I won't ask you to dance, but here's a nugget for you. Teams with the defense ranked in the top 2 during the regular season, they're 17-7 in the Super Bowl. That ought to give them a little confidence.
Well, you know, Kurt, you can ask about my dance moves. They're just a little too hot for TV. But you know what? These guys are confident because after going 4-12 last season, this 49ers defense was dominant. Who would have thought? But when you mix talent with a little bit of personality, actually a lot of personality on this defense, it should come as no surprise that these guys were new, that they were onto something special. It just took the rest of us a little time to find out.
The 49ers in this stellar defense is just absolutely dominating. All I'm going to say is we're going to be a problem. We're going to be a problem. We're going to be a problem.
What did you see back then that the rest of us had to wait to see and figure out?
You know, I knew we had a lot of talent, and we added some really good pieces. I knew it was all there, and having another year in the system, I knew it was going to be special.
We've obviously been building this D-line for a while, the past few years. I mean, we knew we were going to be good.
If you want something in this league, you got to go take it. Let's go take that.
It was the 3rd year in the system. The communication and all that stuff had starting to come together, and I just knew the front was moving in a direction where I was like, geez, we're going to be a problem.
So one of the stars of that group has been Nick Bosa.
You never expect an offense to completely change your block protections just to take care of a rookie. When you're a player who changes the way teams approach your system, you're a game changer.
I've been working hard my whole life to get to this position. I felt like I deserved to get drafted that high, but obviously it was going to take a lot of hard work.
One guy who also deserves to get some pub is Fred Warner, who has kind of gone under the radar this year. What makes him so special?
He's a great leader. He's super intelligent. He's just that energy guy. Fred brings that every day.
You know, you want your linebackers to be a little bit off kilter, a little bit on edge, a little bit high energy.
Bang, bang, none again.
Everybody counts on him. He is special.
Well, the attitude, the energy, the intensity reminds me a little bit of somebody else.
Oh, man.
Watch our guy Robert Saleh just get excited.
You're going to the Super Bowl. Does your defense have what it takes to slow down this high-powered Chiefs offense?
You hope so. I mean, they're explosive, aren't they?
Patrick Mahomes, outstanding player. I mean, everybody knows that.
We had a lot of mobile quarterbacks this year, so we've kind of learned the hard way with Russell Wilson getting out, making those big plays.
Anytime you can go through struggles, lost by an inch to Atlanta, won by an inch against Seattle. We've done everything you can possibly imagine as a football team. And because of it, our guys have this confidence that whatever you bring to the table, we can overcome.
So yeah, you can see with this defense, it's about the energy, the passion. That's what keeps them playing loose, and that's what allows this defense to win games. I can tell you the 49er faithful is confident because of that defense that they have on the field. Now, Howie, they're going to have to harness that energy when they face Patrick Mahomes today up front. They want to keep him in the pocket to allow him to not make those big plays.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I think this matchup in many ways could determine the outcome of the game. Last year at this point, this was an underperforming defense, and they made the decision with that high draft pick to pick Nick Bosa, and they made the trade for D Ford and to go along with Armstead and Buckner, and it's a dominant group, and I think Christina's right. You know, this is the game. The game is press the pocket, keep him in. That's being on the right levels and being in the right lanes. It's being consistent. And I also think jamming these receivers, the speed at receiver is a big problem. jamming them at the line of scrimmage and kind of deterring them from taking off and running 4-2 down the field is key.
But I believe, just like I believe in when I played in it, if you don't get to the quarterback in this game, you're not going to win. And the main four pass rushers on this team, they've only played together 142 snaps this entire season. And then out of those 142 snaps, they pressure the quarterback 44% of the time. That is an incredible ratio. These guys are aggressive. They're disciplined. They're unselfish. And they have a competition with each other to see who's going to get to the quarterback. And I think they're truly offended if you blitz. They're offended that the coach doesn't trust they can do it themselves, and that's the mark of a great defense. Jimmy, you had it with the Cowboys, Howie with the Raiders, you with the Pittsburgh, and I know with me with the Giants. And this team, this defensive line is poised to be one of the greats, but today they got to show up if they want to solidify that.
Hey, Michael, you and Howie are both right. You know, San Francisco's got the #1 defense, #1 pass defense in the entire league, but they play zone coverage. You know, and in the zone, now this is a big if Mahomes is able to move around, buy some time, those speedy receivers, they're going to find some holes in that zone. And you throw a guy like Hill that runs a 4-2, you throw him the ball, he's liable to run away from a thing. So the big thing is they cannot let Mahomes run away and get to buy some time for his receivers.
The easiest coverage for a quarterback to throw against the zone.
Right.
Holes all over the place. And Mike, Howie, you know, if you force him out of the pocket, he has tried to hit a quick slant. The quick slant went to a post end at 20 yards. He didn't hit him there, and then he hits Tyreek Hill on an opposite corner route. The zone to me is the worst way to play a guy like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, the big plays happen when he breaks out and extends plays, and you're in coverage 6, 7, 8 seconds, near impossible.
But this 49 defense has answered the call all season long. Beginning of the year, we were talking about how good they were. By the end of the year, though, we were talking about this Kansas City Chiefs defense, how they have stepped up. We'll give them more love when we come back and talk with the star of that unit, the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. Here's Casey's D getting ready on the field for this game.
I done made a couple hits, going hammer with a pick. God handed me the gift, nothing slamming for a brick. Rolly ain't got a tick, I attracted not a tick.
The Pizza Hut Super Bowl 54 pregame show is sponsored by Pizza Hut, official sponsor of the NFL.
Of course, we've got the Super Bowl for you tonight on Fox, and in a couple of weeks, we'll have the Super Bowl of NASCAR, the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Jeff Gordon and Bronco at a nearby cruise ship in the port of Miami, and I guess you could say they can't wait.
Hey, thanks, Kurt. Come on, look at this, man. Did we get the lucky assignment for this show or what? Does it get any more Miami than this?
Yes, we do, and I don't think so, man. The sun's out, the water looks beautiful, and on top of it, we are on the best ship right now, man. This is absolutely fantastic.
Now, listen, I know you're retired.
Yes.
You've been to the Daytona 500. As a matter of fact, you had a blast at the Daytona 500.
Who do you think's going to win this race today?
Which, by the way, 2 weeks from today, Daytona 500 on Fox. And speaking of race cars, check out what I found on this ship. All right, man, here it is. Check this out. How cool is this?
Man, this is super cool. Go-karting on a ship.
Listen, here's the deal.
All right.
3 laps, loser comes out of retirement.
All right, let's do this.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Definitely don't want to miss a turn on that course. Well, I guess you could say that after last season, the Chiefs decided their defense was a sinking ship. So they went out and signed the versatile safety Tyrann Mathieu. And this year, the man they called the Honey Badger was a big part of why that D statistically flipped from bottom 10 to top 10 in fewest points allowed. You know, there's a saying about not measuring a person by where they are, but rather where they started. If you truly want to know how successful they are. Jay Glazer using that yardstick, there are few who have turned it around as successfully as Tyrann Mathieu.
Look, Kurt, everybody loves a redemption story. There may be no bigger comeback player in this game, and I mean off the field, than Tyrann Mathieu. It wasn't long ago that his life was troubled, littered with drugs. He found himself in a jail cell, even kicked out of college. But then, a few years ago, he made the choice, a decision to change his life and walk through a very dark tunnel to get here today. And today, he walks through a much different type of tunnel.
sunk in. I've been working my whole life for this. Obviously, to get on this stage and to share my story, it's much bigger than football for me.
Yeah, look. You and I sat 2015 when you were at the Cardinals, and I showed you all these headlines about who you used to be. Matthew Mitch failing more than 10 drug tests. Finalist dismissed from LSU. Matthew family shocked, saddened by Honey Badger's drug arrest.
Yeah, I said it sucks to be that guy.
World don't stop just because I'm in a bad mood. You don't know what love is till you holding on to something that you can't.
I can't even really imagine, that's been so long ago. A lot of different emotions I went through, but more so just happy to get to the other side.
We talked about you coming through the other side of the tunnel, and you said that the tunnel will be a constant journey. Where are you now in the tunnel?
I feel like I'm still in that tunnel, and for me, I think that's just the mindset I put myself in.
Most of my life I always felt like I was holding my breath, holding my chest, to be honest, so I'm tired of it. Looking for something.
When I went through what I went through, I realized that a lot of people looked up to me. I was an inspiration to a lot of people.
We gotta start trusting each other, believing in each other, though.
It's not only me that I have to be accountable to. It's a lot of kids out here that inspire to be like me.
You're on the biggest stage of the world. You'll be going through a different type of tunnel today. Take me out of the field, what your emotions gonna be like.
I'll be excited, man. There's no doubt in my mind. I may cry before the game. Definitely gonna cry after the game. This is everything I work for, right? This is everything I dream for. I consider myself as one of the best players in the league, and to be on this stage with some of the other best players in this league, and to kind of compete with them, that's what I want the most.
What do you, today, Tyrann Mathieu, want to turn around and say right now to 12-year-old Tyrann Mathieu?
Man, keep going. Keep smiling.
That's championship swagger, boy!
Continue to connect with good people. And look at your failures as building blocks to something much greater. I'm really trying to inspire the next Tyrann Mathieu, or the next guy that can't deal with being a honey badger or a regular person. So I feel like it's much bigger than just myself at this point.
I'm really proud of him making the decision to make these changes in his life to help out other people. He's become the emotional leader on this team. Howie, where is he physically? He's different now than he used to be.
He's almost like a positionless player. I mean, if he stepped in a bucket of paint before he gets on the field and you followed his tracks, they'd be all over the field. And it's not just in coverage, as we can see here, it's also as a run player. His instincts, the Colts tackle is pulling to the left, they're blocking down. He sees that, his instincts, his physicality, his ability to tackle. It's as a run defender, and you talk about him in coverage.
Yeah, Howie, I talked to the coaching staff this week, and they said he is so good because he can anticipate what the quarterback's going to do. He gets an interception, he gets fumbles, and we look at the tape right here. He goes and covers the tight end. Now the quarterback looks the other way. He goes the other way. He's leading the quarterback back and forth. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to demonstrate. And Jay Glazer, you're going to be my honey badger. You're going to be my honey badger. If you blow up my knee, I'll mess up with her. Hey, I got a receiver. I got a receiver. Okay, here we go. Hey, we're going to say hi. Ho. 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 Ho.
Don't you ever make fun of my athletic ability, Jay Glazer, all right?
Right, but this is going to be the difference. In this game, he's running after Garoppolo. It's going to be different than running after Watson. He can sack Garoppolo. Watson's a little bit harder.
And he couldn't have caught me either. I'm not too quick for him.
We've seen your dancing. We know better than that.
Let me check your heart.
What you see in your mind is not what we see.
All right, we've got much more to come here on the Super Bowl 54 pregame show. Up next, Joe Buck with the 49er head coach Kyle Shanahan. And our aerial coverage is brought to you by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Right now, we'll peek inside the stadium. Oh, there it is. It's right there. It's not inside the stadium. It's out here. Now we'll get inside the stadium where one 49er legend is hanging out with probably a future legend, Defensive Rookie of the Year, named officially last night, Nick Bosa, saying what's up to Jerry Rice.
Hello again. It is time for the Super Bowl.
That's legendary broadcaster Jack Buck on the right side of your screen with Pat Summerall calling Super Bowl IV. That was the last time the Chiefs played for the championship, and on that January day in 1970, Jack Buck had a little 8-month-old son, Joe, back home in St. Louis. Now here we are 50 years later, and look who's up in the broadcast booth, ready to call the Chiefs' first return to the Super Bowl since that game. It's little Joe. Joe, obviously you don't remember that game, but thanks to the internet, I'm sure you've had a chance to watch your dad by now. How cool has this been for you?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And look, I'm one of the luckiest guys walking the planet any day of the year. But on a day like this, with the Chiefs back in the Super Bowl and getting a chance to call this game like my dad did 50 years ago, I'm a blessed guy. And you know who else feels like he's blessed? That guy right there, Kyle Shanahan, following his father into his business as now head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. His dad, the legendary Mike Shanahan, a two-time Super Bowl winning head coach. So he had big shoes to fill. I sat down with Kyle this week to talk to him about filling in his old man's shoes.
Mike, you've been to several Super Bowls. What's it like now to watch your son as a head coach lead his team to a Super Bowl?
Well, you're so proud.
I'm sure the last thing you want to do is reminisce about your childhood before the Super Bowl, but my dad did the Super Bowl. I followed my dad into the business, and obviously that's a big focus with you this week. I think it's special that your dad kind of opened that all up to you at such a young age and put that in you. Now here you are ready to coach in a Super Bowl as a head man.
I mean, my dad made me who I am. He was always a football coach, so I know nothing else.
You like it? Yeah.
Just living and dying football, whether I was watching it as an 8-year-old or whether I was playing it in high school and college or becoming a coach, and it's been my life forever.
When you were handed that Hallis Trophy by your dad, I know it's hard to have a private moment or a one-on-one moment in front of a national audience, but what was that like to have him hand you that trophy to say, son, you're going to the Super Bowl? What was that like?
It was pretty cool. It's not something at all I would have asked for, or my dad.
Did you even know that was going to happen?
The night before, Jed told me, because it was Jed's idea. And
clearly, Jed's not superstitious at all.
No, but
I would have been scared to death.
He didn't want to. Sometimes I can be weird about that type of stuff. For my whole life, I would have said, "Heck no, there's no way you could do that." I hated always hearing, "You got this because your dad. You got that because your dad." I wanted to be away from that as much as possible. Not away from my dad, just away from the talk of that type of stuff.
I get it. Even though you are coaching as a head coach in the Super Bowl, you still have that little voice that tells you, well, everybody's looking at me like I'm Mike Shanahan's son. Do you have that?
That's what was cool to me about what you're asking that I don't think I do anymore. I was always a little bit insecure about that type of stuff. Like I don't feel it like I used to.
You realize you're a hell of a coach, right? I mean, I work with people whose opinion, they're in the Hall of Fame. They think you are as good as there is and as good as there has been in a long time. You realize you're that good, right?
Well, I appreciate it. You're only as good as your last game. So we got one more game this year, and I'll take that compliment better if we win this game. So I can enjoy it for an off season until next year.
I'll remind you of it next year.
All right, appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, Joe.
All right, man.
Thanks, man.
The Super Bowl then, and this is a guy who would sit with Monty Kiffin, he would sit with Mike Tomlin, he would find out how they would decipher an offensive, defensive coordinator so that he could have something for everything. And this is a team won 10 games in 2 years. They win today, 16th game, all in one season, and after this one, he could be hosting the same trophy his father hoisted a few times in his career as well.
Hey, Michael, you look at Kyle Shanahan, and obviously he gets a lot from Mike, from his father. But I think he is the best coach in the entire league as far as scheming the running game. And everybody looks at it and they think it's the zone stretch play, but it's more than that. He has use check, the fullback that reminds me a lot of Moose Johnson. And he can go, and there will be a counter play. He cleans out the holes. He uses Kittle coming back. A lot of counters, a lot of traps. They're receivers block extremely well. Their entire football team's committed to the run.
One guy you'll congratulate on if they win today is Bobby Turner. Bobby Turner was the running back coach in Denver. He drafted Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis went into the Hall of Fame. Raheem Mostert, he's the one who's coaching him up. Bobby Turner came from Mike's staff over to his son's staff.
Yeah, they've got 3 running backs, by the way, not just Mostert, that have over 500 yards for this 49er offense. All right, this fantastic crowd. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye because it's time for us to head inside the stadium to join the football team. Up next, Jimmy with Andy Reid. Then we'll hear from the quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo and Patrick Mahomes, who will be on the biggest stage tonight and shine the brightest. We're less than 90 minutes away from the kickoff of Super Bowl 54 as we continue here on the Pizza Hut pregame show on Fox.
Welcome to the Turkish Airlines Super Bowl 54 pregame show on Fox.
Let's go, Miami! It's Super Bowl. Let the world hear you. Let's welcome to the field from the one and only Fox NFL Sunday. Let's go. Best host in the business, Kurt Menefee. Best insider in the business, Jay Glazer. Hall of Famer, quarterback who's named Super Bowl 13 MVP, Miami, Terry Bradshaw. Hall of Famer, Howie Long. And Hall of Famer, Michael Strahan. And 2020 Hall of Famer, Miami's own, Jimmy Johnson. Let's go.
All right.
In the building.
We are all excited. Thank you so much, DJ Khaled, for the nice intro. Why don't we keep the music theme going while we're talking and call Andy Reid of the Chiefs the U2 of head coaches, because he still hasn't found what he's looking for. He's coached the most games of any person without winning an NFL championship. But just like U2's Joshua Tree was a big success, Mike Holmgren points out the same could be said about Reid's coaching tree.
Every good head coach learned from another coach. Remember, tactics and tendencies passed down through generations like a family tree. For me, it was Bill Walsh. For Andy Reid, it was me. That's how it can work. After our success in Green Bay, Andy branched out to build his own pedigree in Philadelphia. It wasn't long before he surrounded himself with talented teachers in each phase of the game. John Harbaugh, a special teams coach in Philly, is credited with revamping the Ravens. Ron Rivera flourished on Reid's defensive staff before leading Carolina to a Super Bowl berth. Then there's Doug Peterson, who was with Reid as a player, then followed in his footsteps back to Philadelphia where he brought the Birds their first championship. In total, 10 NFL head coaches grew under the tutelage of Reid. It's easy to understand why so many want to see the big man get it done on the biggest stage.
Andy Reid's not only one of the best coaches in the league, he's also one of the most popular. You know, I sat down with him and, you know, the guy's won 221 games, but the one knock on him, he hasn't won a Super Bowl. So I wanted to ask him, you know, is he feeling any pressure, or is he as relaxed as what I thought?
1, 2, get down. Paid the cost to be the boss.
Andy, Coach, how are you? Welcome to the interrogation.
Yeah, man.
How are you?
Good. Look at me. Know what to see?
Looking at your players, it's one thing that they play for you, but they like you. I mean, you see them get off the plane, they got your shirts on, and I don't know if my players like me. I mean, I think they respected me, but I don't know if they really like me.
Yeah, but you had fun. Well, they shook your, they got your hair on.
Only after we won.
That's right, that's right. It's a good group. So you get older, you got to kind of stay in tune with the boys. I've tried to stay as modern as you possibly can, but they treat me like their dad, so I'm okay with that.
Before we get into football,
I've got to ask you.
Now across the field to Andrew Reed from Los Angeles, California.
Do you cringe every time you see the punt, pass, and kick video?
Yes, absolutely. They could get rid of that thing in a heartbeat and I'd be okay.
You want to burn it?
Yeah, or at least switch the name on it. Get the name right. Let's get the name right.
You were so much bigger than the other kids.
Having fun?
I was 13, so I was the max age you could be, and then that means I was the last guy to go. And then there was an 8-year-old behind me. I'm getting this thing straightened out. My players kill me.
We're going to straighten it out.
So I was up at that time. And the kid behind me was 8.
I hope you won.
Well, you know what? I didn't win that. No, I didn't win that phase.
You came in second?
I came in second. There were only 2 of us. Yeah.
How about those Chiefs?
I know that you really like Mahomes in the draft. You moved up to get him. But when did you know that he was special?
Brett Veach, he watched every snap of him. He's our general manager.
Right.
Brett kept saying, this is the best player I've ever seen play. And so, you know, you sit there and you're going, well, how good can this guy really be?
Right.
And then we brought him in and got after it a little bit, and you came out going, man, this guy's going to be tremendous.
Let's go!
You've had great success and 221 wins. You say it's not about you, but I will say this. You know, coaches around the league, ex-coaches, your players, they want to win one for Andy. I mean, I'm just being serious.
I appreciate all that, man. I'm humbled by it. When you're in it, you're not focusing on that.
Right.
Or you better not be focusing on it. So I try to take myself out of it and just say, listen, let's go play. And then let the best team win.
Let's see what we got. Keep bringing the wood.
Sunday night, how nervous will you be? How confident will you be?
Yeah, I'll be ready. Let's go. Ready? Let's go, Coach. God, man. Ankles are taped, and let's go.
You can tell Andy is fired up, and his players love him, and they are determined to give him that ring.
You know, because we have a number of young, innovative minds that have kind of taken the league by storm, including Kyle Shanahan, I think we forget how innovative Andy Reid has been for decades. You talk about over 200 wins. And now with this team that they've assembled, with this quarterback who somehow, by divine intervention, fell to them in the draft, and these wide receivers with all this speed, they have one of the most explosive offenses in football, and they will be a handful for this San Francisco team to deal with.
Yeah, of course, as long as they have Mahomes. Of course they're going to be hard to handle. One of the things about Reid, the reason he's having such a great relationship with Patrick Mahomes is this. He had Brett Favre. I think Brett Favre is just maybe a touch below this guy in athletic ability. He had Alex Smith, don't forget that, before he got rid of him to Washington. And then he had Donovan McNabb, and now he has Mahomes. So you get an understanding. Reid knows how to coach quarterbacks. And now here's what makes Andy so great. He adapts his offense to the talent of the guy that's under center. And if there's one fault with Andy Reid, it's time management. He at times will mess up the clock and not use it right, and occasionally will get a little too aggressive when he needs to back off.
And one thing he does, he makes the game fun as well. I played against Andy Reid. Some of those 221 wins, Jimmy, were against me in my team with the Giants. But I played for him in the Pro Bowl. Always made it fun. You can tell the player that played for him always had respect for him. And regardless of winning or losing this game, you know, Andy Reid's not on the field, but he has definitely proved that he's one of the greatest coaches to ever coach. And if they win, then great. A lot of people are going to say it solidifies his legacy. But if they don't, I think for all of us who know football and know the kind of man he is and the type of player that he's made out of a lot of guys, his legacy is already solidified.
I think most of us agree. I mean, people say if he wins this game, he's in the Hall of Fame. I think he's probably in the Hall of Fame.
I think he's in.
Yeah,
he's in regardless.
Absolutely, no question. Hey, you know what? Terry gets to know the 49er quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, and so will you. We'll have that a little bit later for you. Right now, we saw all those Kansas City fans out with us in the plaza. Well, everyone couldn't get here, so in Kansas City, they're in the Power and Light District, where they've got a watch party going. Something tells me if this team wins, the Power and Light may stay on all night.
Welcome back to the Turkish Airlines Super Bowl 54 pregame show on Fox.
Well, tonight as we celebrate the NFL's 100th anniversary season, all eyes are on the two quarterbacks with the best winning percentages in the game's history. San Francisco's Jimmy Garoppolo is #1 in that category. And after sitting behind Tom Brady when he first entered the league in New England, tonight's his time to shine. On the other sideline, it's a quarterback whose all-around skills will make your jaw drop. Tonight, Patrick Mahomes can become the youngest player ever to win both an MVP and a Super Bowl championship. It's time for Super Bowl 54. The San Francisco 49ers against the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's only on Fox. We're about 45 minutes away from Demi Lovato, Yolanda Adams, and the national anthem, along with America the Beautiful, and all the other pregame festivities coming your way as we join you here down on the field. Jay Glazer joins us from even more on the field, if you will. And Jay, both these teams come in relatively healthy into the Super Bowl, but what's any information we might need to know?
It's actually amazing they're coming in as healthy as they can, because just 2 weeks ago we saw the 49ers, Tevin Coleman, get carted off with a dislocated shoulder. Looked like there's no way he could play in this game. He rehabbed great. John Lynch said he's good to go. In fact, remember, he was the starter going into that game, where his shoulder harness in this game, that he's expected to get his normal reps. On the other side, head coach Andy Reid told me he's going to deactivate his old friends Shady McCoy, LaShawn McCoy, because he wants an extra defensive lineman against that 49er rushing attack. And look, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, they have 3 years left on their contract. But Jed York's so happy with what they're going to do. Expect both guys to get big new deals after this year.
Well deserved. All right, after last season, Tyreek Hill got a brand new deal. As guys are warming up out here on the field, let's take a look at some of the guys that are already in uniform and getting ready to play the game, which kicks off in about an hour and 15 minutes. Michael Strahan starting with the Speedy Hill.
Well, you saw him earlier. He called himself the cheetah, the fastest man in the NFL. He can change the course of a game. He has 4 touchdowns, over 40 yards this season, second only to his own teammate, of Hardman.
You know what? I want to ask you this, Howie, because you've played in the Super Bowl before. You get to this point and you start wondering the emotions that guys are feeling, you know, whether or not the nerves come into play. Can you tell yourself this is just a regular game at this point?
I've always felt like in games like this, those final moments, the moment before the moment of impact, because once you get hit, all this other stuff that you've been dealing with for 2 weeks goes away, and it's a football game, and that's when you settle in. The question is, do you press? Who presses? Who doesn't? Jimmy always talks about the team that makes the fewest mistakes versus the team that makes the most big plays. That's the key.
Always, you know what? When it does change a little bit is when you go in at halftime. That's when the players realize what the score is. They understand, here's what's happening to us. This is where we're failing.
And the length of it.
Yeah, and exactly. The length is amazing. But you do look at that scoreboard when you go in at halftime.
Terry, you've got extra time, like Howie said. And just like in our second Super Bowl, we had time to say, okay, we're not throwing the ball very well. Emmett, you take it over. We're going to run it right down their throat, and that helped us win a second Super Bowl.
So you think you make more adjustments in a game like this?
Oh, without question. Without question. If you've got extra time in the halftime, you've got time to go over your blocking assignments. You've got time to make adjustments. You know, offense, defense, special teams. It helps. And I think it helps a veteran coach.
Yeah, it doesn't take a big adjustment either, does it, Jimmy?
No,
it's just a minor twitch. We're going to do this. You may be doing too much man or maybe too much blitzes. Well, let's back off. Let's switch our downs and distance a little bit.
Michael,
just a little.
The thing I always hear guys talk about, Michael, is how different this is, because you have your routine. The time you go out for your warm-ups, the time you go out for the second half, all that's thrown out the window here with pregame and halftime festivities.
Yeah, you got your routine is gone because the pregame takes so long for once you leave the field to go inside. You see John Lynch there who put this great San Francisco 49ers team together. But when you go in after your warm-up, it's a long time before you come out. When you go in at halftime, it's a long time before you come out. And also, when you're out here playing in the stadium, for the most part, it feels different because the crowd is almost neutral. They negate each other, so it's not as loud when you do well or not as many boos. It's right down the middle. This is the ultimate game of concentration between the players and their coaches. Everybody has to be on the same page all day long.
And you have to be prepared for everything. You look at the Baltimore-San Francisco game. The last time they were in the Super Bowl, they had the blackout.
The lights out, yeah.
The lights go out. Not only the broadcast team has to be prepared for it, but also each team has to be prepared. How do you fill that time? When do you stretch? When do you go out?
Yeah, the other thing is, you said the crowd's going to be neutral, and what Michael said, I don't know. Look, now I may be fooled, but look at this crowd.
Yeah.
This may be a Kansas City crowd.
If it's neutral, the Kansas City folks got here earlier.
Yeah, right.
Maybe they're in California. California time. Who knows right now?
A lot of tomahawk
one thing
chalk.
you see TV real quick here, all the guys hugging people on the sideline, all that. That is different than the regular season. Yeah, you have a couple of friends and family that's there, but when you get to the Super Bowl, it seems like everybody wants your arm, wants a piece of your time.
Well, that's...
During your routine, I'm saying, on the field when you're normally going through your regular business.
No, that didn't happen with me, because when I got out on the football field, that was it. I didn't have any, there was no handshaking. There's no, hey, run over to the sideline or in the stands. No, I came here to win a football game, and the rest is to the side.
We can see the 49ers getting ready to come out in a larger group and take the field when we come back. Niners quarterback Jimmy G will sit down with TB. EA will catch up as well. And we will get to Patrick Mahomes with her, while Michael Strahan is with another guy, full of initials, DJ, as in DJ Khaled. More of the pregame show around the corner.
Jimmy Garoppolo. My name is Jimmy Garoppolo. And I've waited all my life for this. Does anyone know where my helmet is?
Where his helmet is. That was Rob Riggle in his spoof of Hamilton with the name Jimmy Garoppolo. That was great. A couple of years ago, Garoppolo at the time was a backup to Tom Brady. But now look at him, starting in the Super Bowl tonight. If you want to go back a couple of weeks ago to the NFC title game, people got to know his name very little because he threw only 8 passes total, the fewest in the playoff victory in 46 years, but they still won the game. Afterwards on the podium,
Oh,
Jerry
they won the
joked with
game,
him.
Kurt.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, that's okay,
what
then.
matters. And it was cool because when you were up there, you said, hey, man, your arm can't be tired. The internet blew that up. Everybody loved the fact. But I think it's also admirable that Jimmy Garoppolo laughed along with everybody. That just shows you a lot about this kid, man.
Well, look, Jimmy Garoppolo is all about winning. Everybody would agree with me. He doesn't care about his stats. That he only threw 8 passes, 27 in all in the 2 playoff games, and everybody's saying, oh, the perception is they won without, because of a great defense and a running game. Don't forget when Trent Dilfer was quarterback and the Ravens ended up winning that football game. Trent went in there and had one great pass down the middle. And everybody said, well, the Ravens won despite him. Not true. Garoppolo is the real deal, and I enjoyed my sit-down with him.
You already have 2 Super Bowl rings, all right? Now, you didn't do anything but sit over there and sit.
Yep.
Now this one's on you. How's that feel?
It's it's a little different. It really is. Just those 2 rings. I mean, as a backup, you put in a lot of work, but being the starter, it's just different feel to it. So I've been enjoying the week, trying to just soak it all in.
How close are you to Tom Brady? That's TB number 2.
TB number, exactly. Very close, very, yeah. Me and Tom, we've had a good relationship since, since the first day we met. Just the guys helped me with so much. He was kind of like a big brother to me initially.
Has he texted? Has he called?
Texted, yeah.
Good.
He shot me a good luck text after the championship game, just wishing me well and everything. And it means a lot to get a text like that.
Jimmy Garoppolo and this 49er rushing attack. Just too much tonight.
The way this offense has evolved.
75-yard bomb from Jimmy Garoppolo.
What people don't know is you put up some pretty doggone good numbers. They have forgotten that you're a pretty doggone good passer. Do you feel like you have to vindicate yourself for any reason for not throwing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it.
Right.
But, yeah, the big thing, especially the last 2 games, when you're rushing the ball for 8-9 yards a carry, I mean, it's hard to walk up to your head coach, in my case, and say, hey, I think we should start passing it. I don't know how that would go, so.
Yeah. Hey, we ran it 15 times in a row, Jack. I need to get the
Then we got to the one completion to Kittle that we hit.
Yeah, 17 yards in the flats.
Yeah, it was like an hour and a half since I threw the last pass.
96 real minutes.
Was it really?
96 real time. Game time, 20-something.
I mean, yeah, it was crazy. Just, I literally was loosening my arm up in the huddle before he called the play.
Oh, my God, you guys are kidding. This will be your 3rd playoff game, and it's a Super Bowl. 3rd playoff game is a Super Bowl. You've come a long way.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a whirlwind. I mean, since coming into the NFL, getting 2 rings out of it in New England, great time there, learned a ton, and then to come here and, just the whirlwind we've been in here with Kyle and John bringing in new people, new players, and they just bring in such good people that, it gives us a chance.
Chiefs are a fascinating team. I guess I could ask you your biggest concerns, but you're not going to tell me. I got to ask you what your game plan. Who do you want to? You're not going to tell me.
I'll tell you after the game.
You got to go out and have fun. You got to let it go, and you got to be comfortable. And it's a time of your life, man.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's football.
It is. It's a wonderful moment. God bless.
Terry, good luck, man.
You know what? I like this guy. And I tell you, as good looking as Tom Brady is, I believe this guy might be a little better looking, fellas. He's a good looking Italian. He will not fail today. It would not shock me if they don't come out and throw 10 times in a row, and it wouldn't shock me if this guy ends up being the MVP in this football game. Don't underestimate the talents of Jimmy Garoppolo.
When you start your career in New England, you're playing under Bill Belichick and you're playing behind Tom Brady, and just through osmosis, you have to get some knowledge out of that. Watching Tom prepare for these kinds of moments and how you prepare as a quarterback, and don't be fooled by the numbers. And you know it. In the middle of the season this year, when the team took a little bit of a dip, particularly on defense, he picked them up, particularly down in New Orleans with the 4-touchdown game. You look at his highlight reel from the season, 90% of it is play action pass, free runner down the field. And when you're in an offense where the head coach says, look, we're going to run this play out of this formation with this motion, and if you don't trip, it's a touchdown. That's pretty impressive.
Well, what's impressive is in this day and age, I think we see a lot of selfishness in sports. Here's a guy, just like I guess the Patriot way, to come into a team and say, hey, I know you paid me a lot of money. I got to prove that I'm this quarterback with this great arm. He doesn't worry about that. He wants to win games. 15-3.
Not bad, Jack.
But on top of it, this guy is the best deep ball thrower in the game today. The second best statistically is Drew Brees, who we saw him out-battle in one of the best games we had in the season down there in New Orleans. So this guy is a gamer. When called upon to throw, he will throw. And as he's been called by his teammate, Sherman, he's a baller.
It makes me laugh when they say, the question has got to be Garoppolo. I think you won 4 Super Bowls, right?
I sure did.
And there were games
for a good-looking white guy.
There were games you didn't throw it a lot. And there's a guy doing the broadcast today, Troy Aikman. He won 3 Super Bowls, and there were games he didn't throw it a lot. I promise you, if we would wanted Troy to throw the football, he would have lit it up. But the safest way to win with the defense, with the team, with the running game, is go ahead and keep it down to a minimum. But if he needs to match scores with Kansas City, he can do it.
He can do it, absolutely.
He may need to match scores with Kansas City the way that offense goes. 43 points a game they're averaging in the playoffs. Their wide receivers are taking the field right now. When we continue here on the pregame, we'll hear from their quarterback, Patrick Mahomes.
Welcome to the Geico Super Bowl 54 pregame show on Fox.
The Harlem Globetrotters have been the innovators of basketball for 94 years.
But there's a guy in the NFL that reminds us of us. Patrick Mahomes has us looking at football in a whole new way. Oh, yeah. Now you see it, now you don't.
Stop watching the Harlem Globetrotters.
He's going right when he throws left.
Are you kidding me?
He can beat you in the paint and from downtown.
The brilliance of Mahomes. With his no-look, got you shook.
High-flying, gravity-defying.
Throws. He can suit up with us any day.
I don't know if Mahomes can do that. He's special. Right now he's leading the huddle, getting his team fired up and ready to head out onto the field and get ready for Super Bowl 54. Now, all viewers out there who might not be huge football fans, you've never seen him play before, you are in for a treat tonight. Aaron Andrews joins us right now with more on EA. You know what, this night could truly be the night Mahomes wins over the hearts of America and becomes the biggest star in all of sports, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And with a father who pitched in the majors for 11 years, Patrick Mahomes grew up in clubhouses. He was also a pretty accomplished high school baseball player. He was drafted by the Tigers in 2014. And you can see that baseball talent even today with some of those wild and crazy throws he has at all angles. And now one of the brightest stars in the NFL is in the Super Bowl as only his second year as a starter.
36. You always think about like the last quarter to the final 2 minutes, having to make the drive to go win it.
Mahomes takes the snap.
Going and catching it. You're doing everything.
Mahomes has time here. Throws it.
That's what I envision.
Patrick Mahomes, the magic show.
We're here, Miami.
We are.
Come on, in your wildest dreams, what did you envision? Take me through that. Paint the picture.
The biggest thing to me that I've always envisioned is to get to the Super Bowl, doing like the snow angels and the confetti. I want to be holding the trophy up and everything like that.
Now throw left side, caught, touchdown!
That's like the moment. Like that's the moment that you'll forever have.
Okay, let's go back to week 7. That was a tough one.
Mahomes may be hurt. Oh no.
I will never forget the feeling in that stadium. What are you thinking as you're laying on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the worst. I mean, I thought the worst for sure. Looked down at my knees, like in the side of my leg, and that's when I was like, oh my gosh, something like something's really wrong.
Did you think it was over?
I thought the season was probably over. I mean, that's the first thought that goes through your head.
He's passed 2 playoff games.
The Chiefs are at home.
The first one
playoff
against
game.
the Texans. We're down 24-0.
This crowd is silent right now.
You're down that much. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it was. I didn't know what to think.
Did you think you had a shot to come back?
I knew we had a shot.
Do something special.
I tried to preach that to the guys.
Do something special. Already got. One play at a time. Do something special.
We haven't seen a Patrick Mahomes like that on television before.
We are dominating them on every single play.
There's times where I've been like that in the locker room and stuff like that. Maybe not on the sideline, but I've been like that before.
That's a hell of a win, man. At our home. AFC Championship this week.
You're down again the next week against Tennessee. How much did this team gain from, being down in those 2 playoff games and coming back?
Yeah, I think we've gained a ton of confidence just this entire year. Dealing with injuries on both sides of the ball, dealing with losses that we expected to win. It really built confidence so that we can win in different type of ways.
Maybe the best play yet of Patrick Mahomes' incredible young career. This quarterback has played at a level you just don't see very often.
Stats and MVPs are one thing, but we all know a legacy is built for a quarterback with what?
Super Bowl wins for sure.
Yeah. How bad do you want this?
I want it really bad. I mean, it's something where this is the top. This is where you want to be at when you're a little kid. This is where you want to be at when you're a 15-year vet. You want to be a Super Bowl champion.
So good. And when Patrick Mahomes was named the NFL MVP last season, he said, this is just the beginning. I spoke with Travis Kelce this week, and he told us Mahomes has just gotten so much better this year. He's like a machine leading this team down the field. He called him a wizard, and he said, you can't help but rally behind this guy because he's made all of us so much better. Blaze, I'm going to send it over to you now.
Hey, Aaron, you talked about his knee and him being a machine. He is, because that dislocated knee would have put most people out for the year. Instead, he still has about a 10 or 15% chance of re-dislocating that. He's been dealing with that for the rest of the season. And actually, I've learned that they're going to re-MRI it as early as possibly this week, because the Chiefs intend to actually give him a contract extension this offseason, possibly $40 million a year, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jay, I know it's early in his career, but watching him in practice and watching him on tape, he may be the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. I look at all the different attributes: leadership, decision-making, arm strength, touch on the football, everything. Watching him in practice, he was so calm, so confident. A lot of quarterbacks are mechanical. 1, 2, 3, throw the football. Not Mahomes. He just slides back into that pocket. He whips it underhanded. He whips it overhanded. He is so talented, it's unbelievable.
I'm not sure if it's the fact that his dad was a professional athlete. He has so much poise at such a young age. It's the right head coach. It's the right mentor. It's the right system. He's the most unique guy at that position. I mean, there are guys that have elements of what he does, but they don't have all of what he does. His ability to extend plays, his ability to the off-platform throw from different arm slots. It's Favre, it's Elway, it's a little bit of that. And I think he's going to have the same kind of impact that Steph Curry had on young point guards, on young quarterbacks who are coming up.
I've been in television almost 35 years, and I've heard it about Elway, Marino, Kelly, all these quarterbacks. This kid is not always going to get away with what he's been doing. It will bite you in the butt eventually, and this defense today can make him pay for those craziness.
He is special.
He is.
He is special.
Elway was special.
He's got a chance to end a drought of 50 years for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have not won a Super Bowl since then. We'll find out if Mahomes has a little bit more magic left in that arm going up against the Kansas City, or pardon me, the San Francisco defense tonight. Mahomes is trying to make himself a legend in the Midwest. We'll find out how that turns out. Plus, the guys will make their picks, and we've got a very, very special tribute to America as we continue here on Super Bowl 54 pregame show.
The Geico Super Bowl 54 pregame show is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
We're about 15 minutes away from the start of the on-field pregame festivities, including Demi Lovato singing the national anthem. But first, let's have some fun with Rob Riggle. He's the self-proclaimed #1 Chiefs fan, being from Kansas City. And as soon as they made the Super Bowl, Rob said he would throw the greatest Miami Super Bowl party ever. Time to see if he did.
I knew I had to throw the best party Miami has ever seen. So I asked some of my biggest party animal friends for some advice.
Hi, I'm Larry King, and I told Riggle that if he wants to party hard in South Florida, the key is a 7-layer dip. No more than 7 and no less.
I gave Rob the single most important tip for throwing a party in Miami, besides wearing a non-committal hat at all times. You just have to ask yourself, what would Pitbull do?
They all having a good time out there.
How do you know Riggle? AFC Championship Murder-Suicide Pack. How about you?
Same.
Well, thank God we won. I have kids. This is an amazing party. Even Melissa Etheridge showed up.
Yeah. Well, my first band was called the Kansas City Sound Machine. Then one day, every single one of them betrayed me and moved to Miami. Frickin' musicians.
When I'm just getting warmed up.
There are two psychoses I specialize in: overeaters and comedians who suddenly think they're Pitbull. Thank God I came to this party I was not invited to.
When Rob's happy, I'm happy. When Rob's miserable, I'm still happy. We're not close friends.
I'll get it. Hey, don't stop the party.
I like your style, Rob Riggle.
I like your moves, Pitbull.
So, Rob, you ready to do what you do?
Yeah, I am.
Put your hands up, now say. Whoa, get ready. Gonna make my pick. Whoa, get ready. Cause that here comes 3, 2, 1.
I've been waiting my whole life to say this. I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl!
I don't know, man. San Francisco's got a mean run game.
Come on, Pitbull, let me have this one. Just one time.
All I know is I'll definitely be getting in the hot tub later, and I'll definitely be wearing suspenders when I do.
Everybody say, hey.
When we turn to MTV, everybody's dancing here. Hey, Tony Gonzalez joins us right now. Kansas City Chiefs legend. He'll take part in a special pregame ceremony with the NFL 100 honorees being out there. But before we get to that, final question of the day. Jimmy, you've been the lead dog pretty much all season long, the best at making picks. We will start with you.
Well,
simple question.
Normally,
who's going to win Super Bowl 54?
Okay, well, normally I would go with the defense and the running game and being the old coach, but I'm infatuated with Mahomes. I'm picking Kansas City by 7.
Well, you know, Jimmy, I like the way you do it, but you're going down, buddy. I'm going to take you out right here. I'm going with the 49ers, and I think defense is going to dominate. I'm going by 13.
All right, wow. All right, guys, you guys know where I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. Why even ask me? But there's good speed, there's great speed, ridiculous speed, and then there's ludicrous speed, and that's why these Kansas City Chiefs are going to light up that scoreboard, make that offense of the San Francisco 49ers.
The singer, man.
Cattywampus, huh?
I think that even in today's game of spread it out, throw it all over the place, line play wins. I'm going to go with San Francisco by 3.
Ooh, good Good call. I love defense, and I love a great running game, and I believe in Garoppolo. And I wouldn't be surprised if Shanahan opens up throwing 12 passes in a row, just to really flip, kind of tick everybody off. I'm going 49ers by 8.
All right, that does it for us. We thank you for watching the Geico pregame show. We will be back with a special tribute to America as we wrap things up before the kickoff of Super Bowl 54.
The excitement is building, and kickoff is coming up. But first, a special NFL 100 celebration ceremony. Player introductions with Dwayne Johnson and the national anthem performed by Demi Lovato. It's Super Bowl 54, right here on Fox.
We are moments away from the national anthem and kickoff to the Super Bowl, a national event that truly does bring us together. In that spirit, NFL owners and the first ladies of football, along with the youngest living Medal of Honor recipient, remind us we've been through tough times before, but as a nation, we've always come through it together.
The President of the United States, in the name of the Congress, takes pleasure in presenting the Medal of Honor to Lance Corporal William Kyle Carpenter, United States Marine Corps. By his undaunted courage, bold fighting spirit, and unwavering devotion to duty, in the face of almost certain death, Lance Corporal Carpenter reflected great credit upon himself and upheld the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
As Americans, these words are the cornerstone of our country.
A declaration of rights that are to be honored and respected by those who are wise, brave, and proud to be an American.
For those willing to commit their lives to protecting our most precious symbol of freedom.
A tapestry of stars and stripes on a flag woven red, white, and blue.
In 1974, the great American artist Johnny Cash wrote of a ragged old flag. Ragged, old from the conflict and suffering that came with our fight for freedom. Pride in our flag, our country's symbol, should inspire us to keep striving to become a more perfect union.
I walked through a county courthouse square. On a park bench, an old man was sitting there. I said, "Your old courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "No, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Your old flagpole has leaned a little bit, and that's a ragged old flag you got hanging on it." He said, "Have a seat," and I sat down. "Is this the first time you've been to our little town?" I said, "I think it is." He said, "I don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag. You see, we got a little hole in that flag there when Washington took it across the Delaware. And it got powder burned the night that Francis Scott Key sat watching it write and say, 'Can you see?' And it got a bad rip in New Orleans with Pakenham and Jackson tugging at its seams. And it almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag, but she waved on away. She got cut with a sword at Chancellorsville, and she got cut again at Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg, and the south wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. On Flanders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from a Bertha gun. She turned blood red in World War II, She hung limp and low a time or two. She was in Korea, Vietnam. She went where she was sent by her Uncle Sam. She waved from our ships upon the briny foam, and now they've about quit waving back here at home. In her own good land here, she's been abused. She's been burned, dishonored, denied, and refused. And the government for which she stands is scandalized throughout the land. And she's getting threadbare and she's wearing thin, but she's in good shape for the shape she's in. 'Cause she's been through the fire before. And I believe she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning. We take her down every night. We don't let her touch the ground, and we fold her up right. On second thought, I do like to brag, 'cause I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag.
God bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join in a moment of silence as the 49ers, Chiefs, and National Football League extend our deepest condolences to the friends and families of those lost this past week. 9 individuals whose lives were cut short in Sunday's tragic accident, including Gianna and Kobe Bryant, as well as Pro Football Hall of Famer and Minnesota Vikings legend Chris Dolman, who fought a courageous battle with cancer. They will never be forgotten. Thank you.